America's skies are about to change forever with the revolutionary Boeing F-47, our latest stealth fighter. Combining cutting-edge design with unmatched speed and agility, this aircraft redefines modern warfare. In this video, we'll dive into the secrets of its stealth technology, innovative engineering, and the game-changing impact it promises for America's defense. Buckle up and join us as we explore America's new stealth fighter, the Boeing F-47. On Friday, March 21, 2025, a groundbreaking announcement was made in the Oval Office that will forever alter the landscape of U.S. air power. President Donald Trump, alongside Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth and Air Force Chief of Staff General David Alvin, personally declared Boeing the winner of the Next Generation Air Dominance (NGAD) fighter initiative. This historic moment, delivered in one of America's most iconic settings, underscored the nation's commitment to advancing its tactical air capabilities and set the stage for a bold leap into the future of aerial combat. President Trump revealed that an experimental version of the F-47 has been secretly soaring through the skies for nearly 5 years. According to him, this aircraft is far beyond anything any other nation has ever built. "There's no competition," he declared. "I've seen every other jet out there, and nothing even comes close. This isn't just an upgrade, it's a whole new level. You know, level 5 is good," he said, "but this is level 6. The F-47 is armed with cutting-edge stealth technology, making it virtually invisible to enemy detection. It possesses unparalleled power, setting a new benchmark for fighter jets. It's the most powerful aircraft of its kind ever created," Trump stated. "And its maneuverability? Unmatched. Nothing like it has ever existed before. Speed is another jaw-dropping feature. It's faster than anything people are used to, over Mach 2, he added. That's something you don't hear very often. Beyond its speed and power, the true purpose of the F-47 is to maintain America's dominance in the skies. According to Trump, America's enemies will never see it coming. And if the aircraft is ever needed in combat, adversaries will have no chance to react. However, he expressed hope that it would never have to be used for such purposes. A new fleet of these groundbreaking jets is set to be built and deployed under his administration within the next few years. He assured that production is already well underway, with factories and facilities prepared. His vision is to ensure that the United States continues to lead the world in air superiority. At the core of this monumental development is Boeing's revolutionary 6th-generation stealth fighter, now designated the F-47. This aircraft is far more than just an upgraded jet. It represents a complete transformation in the way air combat will be conducted. With its state-of-the-art stealth features, incredible speed, and unmatched maneuverability, the F-47 is engineered to counter emerging threats and redefine the very nature of modern warfare. The U.S. Air Force plans to begin fielding this game-changing fighter within the next decade, highlighting an urgent need to maintain technological superiority in an increasingly unpredictable world. The NGAD initiative is designed to develop a next-generation fighter platform that can operate with other advanced systems. Born from the need to outpace global threats, the program integrates innovative technologies into an adaptable combat jet. Previously shrouded in uncertainty over costs and strategic relevance, the renewed commitment from this announcement has breathed new life into the initiative, paving the way for a future where American air power leads global defense. While the announcement itself is a major milestone, it is equally important to consider the long and storied competition that has brought us to this point. The race to create the ultimate fighter jet has long been a contest between two of America's most storied defense contractors, Boeing and Lockheed Martin. Lockheed Martin, with its celebrated F-22 Raptor and F-35 Lightning II, has been a dominant force in military aviation for decades. Their designs have set high standards in stealth, agility, and technological innovation, becoming symbols of American prowess in the skies. However, this rivalry is steeped in a rich historical context that dates back to the Cold War era. During those tense years, the need for air superiority drove both companies to push the limits of engineering and design. Every new aircraft was a critical piece in the puzzle of national security, and competition was fierce as both firms sought to secure America's strategic interests. The innovations born from this rivalry led to rapid advancements in technology, From cutting-edge stealth materials to sophisticated flight control systems, all of which have shaped the modern fighter jets we see today. Despite Lockheed Martin's illustrious history and its impressive portfolio of advanced aircraft, Boeing's recent triumph in the NGAD fighter initiative signals a potential shift in the balance of power within the defense industry. Boeing's approach with the F-47 leverages decades of aviation experience and a fresh perspective on the challenges of modern warfare. Their success is a testament to the company's relentless drive to innovate and redefine what is possible in military aviation. This victory is not merely about winning a contract. It represents a bold statement that Boeing is ready to lead the next generation of fighter jets into an era where agility, stealth, and speed are paramount. On the day the F-47 was announced, the world of military aviation was buzzing with excitement and curiosity about what this new stealth fighter would look like. Although we have only 2 image renders from the Air Force, they already tell us a lot about this mysterious aircraft. One image shows a plane with a very distinct chine starting right from the nose, a sharp, angular line that gives the jet an aggressive, futuristic look. The other image is more artistic, with much of the aircraft hidden in swirling clouds and vapor, adding an air of mystery to its design. One of the more striking details in the clear render is the suggestion of canards. These small, wing-like structures, which appear to have a high dihedral angle, could help improve the plane's maneuverability and overall stealth. The fact that the other render doesn't show these canards might be due to artistic license or simply a different angle that hides certain features. However, both images agree on one unusual characteristic. The wings seem to share the same high dihedral angle. This design choice is not common among fighters and is likely a deliberate measure to enhance stealth capabilities. Many modern jets like the F-22 and F-35, and even some Chinese fighters like the J-20 and J-36, have a radar signal trap when the wing meets the lower fuselage. In contrast, the F-47 appears to avoid this pitfall by presenting a single diamond-like cross-section when viewed from below or the sides. This streamlined design could be a game-changer, offering a significant advantage in evading radar detection. When we compare this new fighter to other iconic aircraft, a few interesting points come to light. For instance, Boeing's bird of prey demonstrator from the 1990s comes to mind. That small, experimental plane was famed for its incredibly low radar cross-section. In fact, it was so stealthy that while you could see it with the naked eye, fighter jet radar couldn't track it even from a few miles away. Its radar cross-section was rumored to be around -70 decibels, which is an impressive achievement, especially when you consider that the F-22's is about -40 decibels. Imagine that. The technology behind the bird of prey was already groundbreaking 30 years ago, and now we see echoes of that innovation in the F-47's design. The renders leave some mysteries too, as the rear half of the F-47 is not visible. This means we can only speculate about the design of its tail section, engines, and other key features that lie out of view. However, 2 more details stand out. First, the canopy appears fairly wide compared to the rest of the plane. A wide canopy could be an indication of enhanced pilot visibility and perhaps a more spacious cockpit, which might be designed for advanced avionics or even a dual-crew configuration in future variants. Second, the front landing gear is notably different. It has a single wheel rather than a twin-wheel setup, which is often seen in larger, heavier aircraft like the Chinese J-36 fighter. This detail suggests that the F-47 is not meant to be a massive behemoth with a 50-foot wingspan and weighing 70 tons. Instead, it likely falls in the size range of the F-22 or even a bit smaller, which would make it more agile and responsive in combat. This size and design philosophy could be a key factor in its operational role. A fighter jet that is not overly large can take advantage of increased speed, agility, and potentially lower maintenance costs, all while maintaining a strong stealth profile. In today's fast-changing combat environment, these factors are crucial. The ability to evade enemy radar and respond quickly to threats is at the heart of modern air combat. With the F-47, it seems Boeing is banking on a design that merges the best elements of past innovations with fresh, modern engineering. It's interesting to see how these features compare to those of other advanced fighters. The F-22 and F-35 have long been the benchmarks for stealth and agility in U.S. military aviation. Their designs have been refined over years of development and combat experience. On the other side of the globe, China's J-20 and the lesser-known J-36 have pushed the envelope in their own right, though they sometimes fall prey to design challenges like the radar signal trap mentioned earlier. The F-47, with its unique diamond-like cross-section and potential design refinements such as the canards and wing dihedral, seems poised to take lessons from these aircraft and perhaps even improve upon them. The subtle nod to Boeing's own heritage with the bird of prey is also a reminder of how far technology has come. The lessons learned from experimental aircraft decades ago continue to influence modern designs. It's like watching history repeat itself, only with a futuristic twist. It's easy to get excited about the possibilities of a new fighter jet, and the F-47 is no exception. At first glance, some details seem almost contradictory. For instance, the wide cockpit might make you wonder if the design features side-by-side seating. But then, if that were the case, why would the F-47 have a single-wheel front landing gear? Chances are that seating arrangement isn't in play. This simple observation tells us a lot about the design philosophy behind this new fighter. For many years, the Air Force talked about needing a large and heavy sixth-generation fighter. That was the path taken by China with its J-36, a design built on the idea that a bigger plane would offer more power and range. However, over the past year, hints have emerged suggesting that a smaller F-35 size fighter might be just as effective. The F-47 renders seem to back up this new approach. The fact that the F-47 might be more compact suggests that the Air Force is rethinking its priorities, focusing on agility and efficiency rather than sheer size. General Alvin, the Air Force Chief of Staff, released a statement loaded with praise for the F-47, calling it the most advanced, lethal, and adaptable fighter ever. He added that it is designed to outpace, outmatch, and outmaneuver any adversary. When you hear words like these, it really sets your mind racing with possibilities. Yet some of the phrasing raises interesting questions. Outmaneuver is not a word typically associated with next-generation fighters, which often sacrifice traditional turning ability in favor of stealth and speed. Instead, it might be more accurate to say the F-47 is built for agility. Its ability to rapidly change location and altitude in a split second could be the real game changer. How might this agility be achieved? One possibility is through advanced engines that offer the best of both worlds. Imagine an engine that can operate in turbofan mode for fuel efficiency during long patrols and then switch to turbojet mode when a burst of power is needed for quick maneuvers. This kind of dual-mode operation could give the F-47 an edge over current fighters by allowing it to conserve fuel without compromising on performance during critical moments. Another eyebrow-raising claim from General Alvin is about the fighter's range. He stated that the F-47 will have a significantly longer range than today's fifth-generation fighters. Currently, the F-35 boasts a combat radius of nearly 900 miles for air-to-air missions. How can a fighter that is presumably similar in size or even smaller manage to exceed that range? The answer might lie in engine efficiency. Advanced engines now in development are promising at least a 25% improvement in fuel efficiency over existing models. In addition, the F-35 is built as a multi-role aircraft, designed to carry heavy loads and endure long service lives of up to 40 years. In contrast, the F-47's airframe might be engineered for a shorter lifespan, designed to be replaced or upgraded much more frequently. This approach could allow for rapid technological refreshes, ensuring that the fighter always benefits from the latest innovations. It's fascinating to think about how these design choices reflect a shift in strategy. The Air Force once believed that a larger, more robust fighter was necessary to dominate the skies. But as technology advances, the emphasis seems to be moving toward nimbleness and efficiency. The F-47 might well be a symbol of this new approach. A fighter that is smaller but faster, with advanced engines that let it cover more ground, could change the way air combat is conducted in the future. By rethinking traditional design elements, the F-47 seems to blend lessons from past successes with bold new ideas. The possibility of a wide cockpit might initially hint at side-by-side seating, but the single-wheel front landing gear strongly suggests a different layout. This detail hints at a careful balance between pilot comfort and overall aircraft performance. A wide canopy might still allow for excellent visibility and situational awareness, even if the seating arrangement is more traditional. Such design decisions are likely driven by the need to keep the fighter's size manageable, thereby enhancing its agility. At the same time, this new fighter is positioned against a backdrop of evolving strategic thinking. The earlier vision of a bulky sixth-generation fighter, exemplified by China's J-36, is now being reconsidered in favor of a design more in line with the F-35. This shift reflects a broader trend in military aviation, where the focus is on creating platforms that can be updated more frequently, rather than relying on a single design to carry the burden of air dominance for decades. General Alvin's comments also suggest that the F-47 will be a multifaceted platform. By emphasizing the ability to outpace, outmatch, and outmaneuver, he paints a picture of a fighter that is not only fast but also versatile. The emphasis on rapid changes in location and altitude could indicate a design optimized for dynamic combat environments, where quick decisions and faster responses are critical. The F-47 is not only a leap forward in stealth technology, but also a smart, cost-effective design that promises to change the way we think about fighter jets. One interesting detail is that the F-47 may be built to carry only a few AMR/AAM-sized air-to-air missiles. This might seem like a limitation at first, but there's a clever twist. The Air Force has hinted that each F-47 will fly with more than 5 drones. These drones would serve as the primary missile carriers and shooters. In other words, the fighter jet itself wouldn't need to store a large arsenal of weapons. With the drones doing the heavy lifting in combat, the F-47 can remain lean and agile, reducing its overall weight and enhancing its stealth capabilities. Another interesting aspect is the use of novel construction methods, like metal printing, in building the F-47. This modern manufacturing process, along with other design optimizations, may allow engineers to create extra space for fuel while keeping the plane lighter. The result? A significant boost in range. Early estimates suggest that the F-47 could offer a 25% to even a 50% increase in range compared to today's F-35. Imagine the strategic advantage of a fighter jet that can fly farther, engage the enemy for longer, and still return home safely without refueling too often. Furthermore, there's talk that the F-47 may be designed with just one engine. Fewer engines mean less weight, which could further enhance its range and agility, while also simplifying maintenance. General Alvin has been very positive about the F-47's progress. He mentioned that multiple experimental demonstrators have already flown over the past 5 years. According to him, the F-47 has reached what he called unprecedented maturity. This statement speaks volumes about how much testing and refinement have already gone into the project. It's not just a concept on paper, it's a real, tangible machine that has been proven in flight tests. In fact, General Alvin revealed that a prototype will take to the skies during President Trump's term, by 2028 at the latest. This timeline is remarkable because it is faster than the development timelines for previous fighter jets like the F-35 or the F-22. However, it is important to note that while the prototype may fly soon, additional years will be needed for thorough testing and refinements. The first serial-produced airframes might not join the Air Force inventory until around 2032, with initial operational capability expected to kick in around 2035. One of the most promising aspects of the F-47 is its cost-effectiveness. The Air Force has quoted the F-47 as being cheaper than the F-22. This lower cost is not just about saving money, it means that the service can afford to buy more of these aircraft. With a larger fleet, the overall program cost is spread out over more jets, lowering the price per unit even further. This approach is similar to why the F-35 is currently cheaper than the F-15EX. In previous years, before a smaller-scale option was considered, programs like ANGAD were described as costing hundreds of millions per jet, with only around 200 units being affordable. The move toward a smaller, more cost-effective fighter like the F-47 shows a significant shift in strategy. It suggests that the future of air combat may not require massive, heavily armed air cruisers. but rather more nimble and advanced aircraft that can work in tandem with drone formations and tanker aircraft. This design philosophy indicates that the F-47 is intended to be a manageable aircraft, likely somewhere between the size of the F-35 and the F-22. Despite its relatively smaller size, the F-47 is set to be much more advanced. Its design, combining reduced weight, enhanced fuel capacity, and advanced stealth, makes it a very appealing option for the future of U.S. air power. The ability to launch alongside a swarm of drones means that this fighter jet can be a force multiplier on the battlefield. In modern warfare, where agility and technological integration are key, having a fleet of these smaller, smarter fighters could prove to be a game changer. It's also worth noting that this shift toward a more compact and efficient fighter was not a last-minute decision. The U.S. has been preparing for this transition for quite some time, possibly even before the alleged pause in the NGAD program during the summer of 2024. In fact, Boeing had already been constructing new facilities in anticipation of these future needs. This proactive approach demonstrates a clear commitment to maintaining a technological edge and ensuring that the U.S. military can adapt quickly to changing threats on the global stage. Following the announcement, companies involved in the NGAD fighter competition are speaking out with clear messages about their visions for the future of U.S. air power. Lockheed Martin, the losing bidder, quickly released a statement to TWZ. They said, "Lockheed Martin continues to work to advance critical technologies to outpace emerging threats and deliver true 21st century security solutions to our nation's military forces. We are committed to advancing the state-of-the-art in air dominance to ensure America has the most revolutionary systems to counter the rapidly evolving threat environment. While disappointed with this outcome, we are confident we delivered a competitive solution. We will await further discussions with the U.S. Air Force." That final line hints at a possible protest against the contract award, showing that the battle is far from over. Engine manufacturer General Electric also joined the conversation with a post on X. Their message expressed their gratitude for the administration's leadership and reaffirmed their commitment to keeping U.S. military air superiority strong for decades to come. GE mentioned how excited they were to see the NGAD program move forward and looked forward to the opportunities it could offer to power the fighters of the future. This sentiment follows recent moves where the Air Force increased contract ceilings with both General Electric and Pratt & Whitney to $3.5 billion. Those funds will support further work on prototype next-generation jet engines under the Next Generation Adaptive Propulsion (NGAP) program, a crucial component to power the NGAD fighter. Although the future of the NGAD combat jet is still taking shape, the NGAP program is poised to have a major impact on other advanced aviation projects as well. Boeing, clearly the big winner in this contest, is making headlines for its clean sheet approach to fighter design. John Ostrower, editor-in-chief of the Air Current, pointed out that this is the first time Boeing has secured a contract for a completely new fighter jet built from scratch. In the past, Boeing's successes in the fighter market were tied to designs inherited from McDonnell Douglas, like the F-15, AV-8B, F/A-18, and EA-18. This victory with the F-47 marks a turning point for Boeing, as it shows the company is ready to innovate without relying on past templates. Their approach with the F-47 leverages decades of aviation expertise, combined with a fresh perspective on modern combat needs. The next phase for the F-47 program, as outlined by the Secretary of the Air Force Public Affairs, will kick off the Engineering and Manufacturing Development, or EMD phase. In this stage, Boeing will focus on maturing, integrating, and testing all components of the fighter. A small number of test aircraft will be built for evaluation, and the contract includes options for low-rate initial production. This means that after the rigorous testing phase, there will be room to gradually increase production, ensuring that the new fighter can be fielded effectively once it meets all performance and safety requirements. Steve Parker, Boeing's interim president and chief executive officer of its Defense, Space and Security Division, issued an official statement that summed up the company's excitement and determination. He said, "We recognize the importance of designing, building, and delivering a sixth-generation fighter capability for the United States Air Force. In preparation for this mission, we made the most significant investment in the history of our defense business, and we are ready to provide the most advanced and innovative NGAD aircraft needed to support the mission. Parker's words underline not just a commitment to winning contracts, but a deep belief in the power of innovation to redefine the future of air combat. As these statements roll in, it's clear that the race for air superiority is not just about one contract or one company. It is a complex competition that involves many players, all driven by the same goal: to keep America's skies safe and to ensure that the U.S. military remains on the cutting edge of technology. The NGAD Fighter Initiative is a perfect example of how collaboration, competition, and innovation come together in the world of defense. While Boeing takes the lead with the F-47, the ongoing efforts by Lockheed Martin, GE, Pratt & Whitney, and others are just as critical to shaping the future of air combat. In short, the next steps in the NGAD program are set to bring exciting developments to the forefront of military aviation. With the F-47 entering its EMD phase and vital engine programs moving ahead under NGAP, the stage is set for a dynamic evolution in how the United States defends its airspace. As we watch the F-47 take shape and the future of air combat unfold, one question remains: will Boeing's next-generation fighter truly redefine the skies, or will its rivals find a way to catch up? The United States is staying ahead by developing powerful new defense systems, some of the most advanced in the world. One of them is a drone that can carry nuclear weapons. These drones aren't just for surveillance. They're built to stop grave threats and, if necessary, strike back at powerful countries like Russia and China. Rumor has it they are quiet, deadly, and could change how wars are fought before anyone even sees them coming. How is the X-47 Pegasus reshaping military strategies, and how will it impact global defense? Join us as we take a closer look at the game-changing nuclear drone that could alter the future of warfare. The X-47B, also known as Pegasus, is a groundbreaking unmanned aerial vehicle developed by Northrop Grumman, a major player in the American defense industry. This aerial vehicle, also called a combat drone, fighter drone, or battlefield UAV, gathers intelligence and carries weapons like missiles and bombs for attacks. These drones typically have a human operator controlling them remotely, with different levels of self-operation. They are designed to complete missions and return to base, unlike kamikaze drones that are made to crash into targets or surveillance drones that only collect information. These aircraft don't have a pilot inside them. Since no human pilot is needed on board, they don't need equipment like oxygen systems or ejection seats. This makes them smaller and lighter than piloted aircraft. Many countries now make their combat drones, while others buy them from overseas or are working to develop them. This incredible machine was designed with a single bold purpose: to take off and land on aircraft carriers without humans. The X-47B started its journey with DARPA, a government agency that develops the most advanced tech for the United States military. After this, the Navy grabbed the baton and made it part of its impressive UCAS- program. Here's the cool part. The X-47B doesn't play by the usual rules. It ditches the typical tail and rocks a smooth, blended wing body shape that slices through the air like a hot knife through butter. Empowering this beast is a robust jet engine that pushes it to soar. But the X-47B isn't just a looker. This self-flying dynamo can handle missions mostly on its own, and when it needs to refuel, it can pull up to a tanker for a mid-air refill with no problem. The X-47B took its first flight back in 2011. By 2015, the two active prototype planes underwent many tests and operational training. They aced many trials, taking off and landing from land bases and aircraft carriers. In August 2014, the Navy shared some exciting news. They had successfully worked the X-47B into carrier operations, having it fly alongside regular piloted planes. Less than a year later, they wrapped up the main testing program. Initially, the plan was to retire the X-47B prototypes and put them in museum once the flight tests were finished. However, the Navy changed its mind and decided to keep the planes flying longer. They wanted to have them on hand for more testing and development. The Navy wasn't super serious about using unmanned combat planes until the year 2000. That's when they gave Boeing and Northrop Grumman each $2 million to spend 15 months brainstorming ideas. They had to think about a bunch of tricky stuff, like how to deal with the salty ocean air that can rust metal, how to launch and land these planes on a carrier deck, how to link them up with the ship's control systems, and how to make sure they wouldn't get messed up by all the electronic interference on the carrier. After the big J-UCAS program got cut, the Air Force and Navy chose to pursue this project with full force. The Navy picked Northrop Grumman's X-47B for their UCAS-D program, which stands for Unmanned Combat Air System Demonstrator. They wanted the test plane to be as realistic as possible, so they made it the same size and weight as the X-47B they envisioned using in real missions. It even had a full-sized weapons bay that could hold actual missiles. Northrop Grumman didn't go at it alone. They brought in a powerhouse of collaborators, including heavyweights like Lockheed Martin, Pratt & Whitney, and other names that only true aviation enthusiasts would recognize. The first X-47B prototype debuted at their California factory on December 16, 2008. Initially, the plan was to have it flying by November 2009, but the ambitious timeline slipped a bit. By 2009, however, they were ready to roll it onto the runway and put it through its paces, testing how it would perform in the real world. The Navy mostly wanted these robot planes for spying missions. The idea was to send them into dangerous places to scope targets before bombing them. Northrop Grumman had already made a test plane called the X-47 Pegasus, which flew in 2003. It was like a rough draft for the X-47B. However, the big program for these unmanned planes, JUCAS, was canceled in February 2006. The decision came after a big military review called the Quadrennial Defense Review that year. The Navy dipped its toes into the idea, but then decided to put the whole thing on pause for a while after some rethinking. After a short period, the X-47B demonstrator took its maiden flight on February 4, 2011, at the renowned Edwards Air Force Base in California. This groundbreaking event marked a significant milestone in the development of unmanned aerial vehicles, showcasing the immense potential of autonomous flight technology. Following its successful inaugural flight, AV-1 continued to push the boundaries of aviation. On September 30, 2011, the demonstrator accomplished another remarkable feat, flying in cruise configuration with its landing gear retracted. This achievement showed the aircraft's ability to seamlessly transition between different flight modes, further solidifying its position as a trailblazer in unmanned aviation. Air Vehicle 2 followed in its predecessor's footsteps, making its maiden flight on November 22, 2011, at Edwards Air Force Base. This successful flight reinforced the capabilities of the X-47B platform, proving that Air Vehicle 1's achievement was not a one-time success, but a demonstration of the technology's reliability and robustness. The success of these missions paved the way for further advancements in the field, opening up new possibilities for integrating unmanned aerial vehicles into various sectors, including military operations, surveillance, and scientific research. Following these events, the Navy had big dreams for its two X-47B drones. The plan was to put them through the ringer, 50 test flights over 3 years. They would fly at several bases before finally showing off their skills on an aircraft carrier in 2013. Impressively, the drones aced their tests so fast that the Navy called it quits after just 16 flights. These machines were natural, so the top authorities figured, why not see what else they could do? The next major challenge was enabling the drones to take off and land on an aircraft carrier completely without a human at the controls. As if that was not ambitious enough, the Navy also wanted the drones to refuel in midair by connecting to a fuel line as if it were second nature. To make this happen in 2011, the Navy began outfitting one of the drones with the advanced systems needed for aerial refueling tests, aiming to have it operational by 2014. At the same time in 2012, engineers at Northrop Grumman developed an innovative remote control system. This setup allowed carrier deck crews to maneuver the drone like an oversized RC aircraft, giving them precise control over its movements on the flight deck. In the second half of 2012, the Navy's Unmanned Combat Air System Demonstration Program launched a meticulously planned series of tests at Patuxent River Naval Air Station, a premier facility known for advancing aerospace innovation. The two prototype aircraft, the Ghost Hawk and Shadow Ray, were at the center of these new tests. They were designed to push the limits of autonomous combat aviation further. In May, Ghost Hawk embarked on a critical evaluation of its ability to withstand electromagnetic interference. This was far more than a routine diagnostic. It was a comprehensive assessment aimed at ensuring the drone's reliability in complex electronic warfare environments. Given the increasing sophistication of electronic threats on the modern battlefield, understanding how the system performed under such conditions was crucial for developing resilient, mission-ready aircraft. The results of these tests would play a vital role in shaping the future of carrier-launched unmanned aviation. The following month, Pegasus 2 arrived to begin its series of rigorous tests. These weren't routine system checks. Each assessment was designed to push the limits of autonomous carrier operations. The team focused on how an unmanned aircraft could handle the complexities of naval aviation, evaluating precise maneuvers like arrested landings and catapult launches to determine the drone's full operational capabilities. A breakthrough came when Pegasus 2 successfully executed its first land-based catapult launch. This wasn't just a technical achievement, it was a glimpse into the future of naval aviation, where autonomous systems could seamlessly operate alongside human pilots. The X-47B advanced to carrier-based testing on November 26, 2012, when it boarded the USS Harry S. Truman at Naval Station, Norfolk, Virginia. By December 18th, the drone had completed its first at-sea test phase, exceeding expectations. It integrated smoothly with the carrier's flight deck, hangar bays, and communication systems, proving that the future of carrier-based autonomous aviation was closer than ever. After the initial deck testing, the X-47B returned to Patuxent River for additional evaluations. On May 4, 2013, it landed on a simulated carrier deck. 10 days later, the drone became the first unmanned aircraft launched from an aircraft carrier when it took off from the USS George H.W. Bush in the Atlantic Ocean. On May 17, 2013, the X-47B unmanned combat air vehicle achieved another remarkable milestone by successfully executing touch-and-go landings and takeoffs on an aircraft carrier while the vessel was in motion at sea. This historic demonstration represented a significant advancement in naval aviation capability, proving that autonomous aircraft could operate effectively in the challenging carrier environment. The drone showed its reliability through its built-in safety features. When one of its 3 navigation systems detected a problem, the other systems immediately recognized it and automatically triggered a safety shutdown. Navy engineers saw this not as a malfunction, but as proof of the drone's advanced capabilities, allowing it to identify and fix potential problems independently. Follow-up tests on July 15, 2013, further explored the technology's limits, with the second X-47B running into similar navigation problems. The Navy researchers remained positive, viewing these challenges as normal parts of the development process rather than setbacks. The program didn't stop with these early tests at sea. Between 2013 and 2015, the Navy put the X-47B drones through another series of carefully planned test phases. These tests were designed to thoroughly examine how unmanned aircraft could work alongside traditional planes on aircraft carriers. The goal was to break down the old ways of doing things and build new approaches for integrating self-flying aircraft into naval operations. Engineers wanted to understand how autonomous systems interact with existing carrier procedures, equipment, and personnel. This methodical testing helped bridge the gap between conventional naval aviation and the future of unmanned aerial systems. The testing during this period represented a crucial evolutionary step in naval aviation. Just as the transition from propeller aircraft to jets required significant adaptations in carrier operations decades earlier, the introduction of unmanned systems necessitated a fundamental rethinking of established protocols. Naval aviation procedures had been refined over decades with human pilots at the center. Now engineers needed to determine how to adapt or completely redesign these systems for aircraft that could think and react independently. These tests examined critical integration questions. How would unmanned aircraft communicate with air traffic control systems designed for human interaction? What modifications would be needed for launch and recovery systems? How would maintenance crews safely work around aircraft that could activate systems autonomously? The answers to these questions would form the foundation for a new operational doctrine. The drone program reached a big milestone when it completed its 100th flight for the UCASD program. By July, the project had already accomplished some impressive achievements, including 16 precise approaches to carrier decks. The testing included 5 wave-off function checks, 9 touch-and-go landings, 2 arrested landings, and 3 catapult launches. The project's biggest achievement came on April 25th, when the X-47B completed the world's first fully autonomous aerial refueling, connecting with an Omega Air KC-707 tanker off the Maryland coast. This marked the completion of all main demonstration tasks, showing what unmanned aircraft could do in naval operations. The X-47B drone project came with a hefty price tag. The Navy first awarded a contract worth $635.8 million in 2007. By January 2012, the total program costs had grown to an estimated $813 million. The project was scheduled to run out of money at the end of September 2013, when the fiscal year ended. But the Navy wasn't finished with the drone yet. In June 2014, they added $63 million to keep post-demonstration development going. Regarding the drone's features, the Northrop Grumman X-47B is a futuristic aircraft. When fully extended, it is 38 feet 2 inches long and has a wingspan of 62 feet. It can fold down to just 39 feet for compact storage on aircraft carriers. The distinctive design balances aerodynamic performance with the practical constraints of naval operations. Its tailless, flying wing configuration provides exceptional stealth characteristics while maintaining stability during flight. The ability to fold its wings is essential for efficient storage in the confined spaces below an aircraft carrier's deck, a critical requirement for any carrier-based aircraft. Weighing 28,837 pounds when empty and capable of reaching a maximum takeoff weight of 44,501 pounds. The X-47B is powered by a single Pratt & Whitney F-100-220U turbofan engine. This sophisticated aircraft can reach speeds of Mach 0.9, traveling at approximately 690 miles per hour in high subsonic flight, and can operate at service ceilings up to 42,000 feet. The drone's operational range is equally impressive. It can traverse 2,400 miles without refueling. Its design incorporates 2 weapon bays, each capable of carrying up to 4,500 pounds of ordnance, making it a versatile platform for maritime military operations. Technologically, the X-47B is equipped with advanced avionics systems, including provisions for electro-optical, infrared, synthetic aperture radar, inverse synthetic aperture radar, ground moving target indication, maritime moving target indication, and electronic support measures. These capabilities allow the drone to conduct sophisticated reconnaissance and combat missions with minimal human intervention. By eliminating the need for an onboard crew, the X-47B represents a significant leap forward in autonomous aerial technology. It demonstrates the potential for unmanned systems to operate effectively in complex maritime environments. The X-47 series marks a major step forward in how the United States build unmanned aircraft. It is impressive how these drones have changed over time, getting better at flying themselves during Navy operations. The X-47A was the original proof of concept prototype, introduced in 2003 with a relatively modest 27.8-foot wingspan. This initial design served as a critical experimental platform, allowing engineers to explore the fundamental principles of autonomous flight and stealth technology for naval applications. Building upon the lessons learned from the X-47A, the X-47B emerged as a more advanced demonstrator aircraft. First flown in 2011, this variant featured a dramatically expanded 62-foot wingspan, representing a substantial leap in size, capability, and technological sophistication. The X-47B would achieve numerous historic milestones, including the first autonomous carrier launches and landings. The proposed X-47C represents a speculative next-generation concept, envisioned as a larger platform with potential applications for the Navy's unmanned carrier-launched airborne surveillance and strike program and potential Air Force strategic bomber roles. This variant symbolizes the ongoing exploration of how autonomous systems might transform military aviation, pushing the boundaries of unmanned vehicle design and operational capabilities. Each iteration of the X-47 series reflects a careful progression of technological innovation, with each model building upon the capabilities and insights gained from its predecessors. From the initial experimental X-47A to the groundbreaking X-47B and the prospective X-47C, this lineage demonstrates the rapid advancement of autonomous aerial technologies in the early 21st century. Groundbreaking innovations often earn recognition beyond their technical achievements, and the X-47B drone is no exception. In 2014, this game-changing aircraft received 2 prestigious awards, a testament to its revolutionary impact on aeronautical engineering. Aviation Week honored the drone in March of that year with its 57th Annual Laureate Award, celebrating its remarkable advances in aerodynamics and propulsion. This recognition solidified the X-47B's place as a true technological breakthrough, reshaping the future of military aviation. Soon after, the National Aeronautic Association presented an even bigger honor, the 2013 Collier Trophy, often called aviation's equivalent of the Nobel Prize. This award went to the combined team of Northrop Grumman, the United States Navy, and everyone who helped develop the X-47B. The Collier Trophy has a storied history of recognizing transformative aerospace innovations. Past recipients have included pioneers like Charles Lindbergh and teams responsible for the Apollo moon landing. By placing the X-47B development team in this distinguished lineage, the National Aeronautic Association signaled that autonomous drone technology represented a revolutionary advancement in human flight. These awards confirmed what aerospace experts already knew. The X-47B was not just a tech experiment, but a sign of a new flying age. It showed a future where human pilots and self-operating systems would work together increasingly, changing how we think about air operations. For years, tensions in the Pacific have been rising, and Taiwan has been at the center of it all. With the threat of missile strikes looming, traditional defenses were no longer enough. That's when a game-changing 300 billion laser system was deployed, capable of blasting enemy threats out of the sky at the speed of light. But no one expected what happened next. Was this billion-dollar laser system the breakthrough Taiwan needed, or did it face unexpected challenges? What happened when it was finally put to the test? Join us as we explore what exactly makes this $3 billion laser system a game-changer. Laser weapons are changing the future of warfare. For years, missiles have been one of the most terrifying threats in battle, racing through the sky at over 1,800 miles per hour and carrying deadly explosives. Just one can wipe out an entire area in seconds, and there was no way to stop them for a long time. But now that's all changing. A new defense has arrived, lasers, and they're turning the tide of battle like never before. These futuristic laser systems can blast enemy missiles right out of the sky in just seconds. With an incredible 300 kilowatt laser, they can melt through metal and destroy threats from 6 miles away. If lasers were once just cool toys, they are now powerful weapons capable of heating targets to a blistering 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit, turning metal into plasma. Countries around the world are racing to develop and improve laser technology. Every day, new advancements make them faster, stronger, and more effective. But are they really a good defense against missiles and drones? The answer seems to be a big yes. Unlike traditional air defense, which can run out of bullets or missiles, lasers fire beams of energy that don't need to be restocked. Another huge advantage is that lasers don't just hit one target at a time. They can take down multiple threats instantly, making it impossible for enemies to simply overwhelm defenses with large numbers of drones or rockets. This changes war strategies completely. Before, an enemy could just launch waves of missiles, knowing that traditional defense systems couldn't handle them all. Now with lasers, even a swarm of incoming attacks can be stopped before they reach their target. Presently, the US and Britain are leading the way with powerful new laser weapons. One interesting perk? They are incredibly cheap. Lockheed Martin's 300 kilowatt lasers that are capable of destroying missiles, drones, and even artillery shells cost just $40 per shot. Britain's Dragonfire system is even more impressive. It can shoot down million-dollar missiles with laser blasts that cost just $1 per shot. In the past, air defense systems could be overwhelmed by launching a large number of drones and missiles at once. Older systems could not intercept all incoming threats simultaneously. However, laser weapons are now being developed to counter such attacks. Not all lasers are equally effective, and each type has specific characteristics and uses. Lasers are not only used for defense, but also in science, medicine, and everyday technology. For example, small lasers are used in devices such as laser pointers and optical drives. Different types of lasers operate uniquely, making them useful in various fields. One example of a laser type is the solid-state laser, which can use ruby crystals. This kind of laser is powerful enough to blind an enemy or disable electronic devices. Another common type is the semiconductor laser, which is found in household devices such as remote controls and smartphones. The small red light at the bottom of a TV remote is an example of a semiconductor laser. Another powerful type is the gas laser. These lasers have the ability to generate beams that are strong enough to cut through steel. Gas lasers are often used in industrial applications and high-powered weapon systems. They operate by exciting gas molecules to produce a focused beam of light, making them highly effective for precision cutting and military use. Laser weapons may sound like the ultimate defense, but they have some big challenges that make them tricky to use in real combat. One major problem is power. Lasers need a huge amount of energy to fire a strong enough beam to destroy a target. Right now, there are no small and efficient power sources that can keep a laser weapon running for a long time. The United States has tried to solve this by creating a rechargeable mini laser system, but its power is still too low to be truly effective. Another issue is heat. When lasers fire, they generate an enormous amount of heat, which needs to be cooled down quickly. Otherwise, the system could overheat and stop working. To manage this, large and complicated cooling systems are required, making the whole setup bulky and difficult to move. Scientists and engineers are working hard to make these systems smaller and more efficient, but it's still a work in progress. Lasers also struggle with distance. Unlike bullets or missiles, which keep their strength as they travel, laser beams lose power over long distances. This happens because the beam scatters and weakens as it moves through the air. Right now, most powerful laser weapons can only shoot up to about 6 miles, which isn't very far compared to traditional missiles and other weapons. Atmospheric conditions also affect laser performance. Factors such as dust, smoke, rain, and fog can weaken or scatter laser beams, reducing their effectiveness at long distances. This makes it challenging to rely on lasers in all combat environments. Additionally, reflective surfaces can reduce a laser's impact. If a target is covered with a mirror-like coating, the laser beam may be deflected instead of absorbed, making destruction more difficult. Electromagnetic interference is also a concern. Strong laser systems can create disruptions in other electronic equipment, which can be problematic in military applications where multiple systems must function together. Another problem is aiming. For a laser to destroy a target, it has to stay focused on the same spot for a few seconds. This might not seem like a long time, but in battle, things move fast. If a drone, missile, or fighter jet is flying at high speed and making sharp turns, keeping the laser locked onto it becomes very difficult. If the laser can't hold its beam steady, it won't be able to do any real damage. Even worse, some materials can reflect or scatter the laser beam. Imagine an enemy missile covered in a shiny mirror-like coating. Instead of absorbing the laser's heat and melting, the beam could just bounce off and do nothing. This means that opponents could find simple ways to protect their weapons from laser attacks, making laser defenses much less useful. Finally, laser systems are extremely expensive and complicated to build. They require precise parts and advanced technology, which makes them costly to produce and maintain. And on top of that, they can interfere with other electronics, causing unexpected problems in combat situations. Despite these challenges, Countries around the world are working to improve laser weapons. If scientists can find ways to fix these problems by making lasers more powerful, increasing their range, and solving the heat and aiming issues, they could become the future of military defense. But for now, they still have a long way to go before they can replace traditional weapons. Laser weapons may sound like something out of a sci-fi movie, but making and maintaining them is extremely tricky. These systems need highly precise parts and complex optical technology, which makes them incredibly expensive. On top of that, there's a hidden problem many don't talk about. Lasers can interfere with other electronic systems. In combat, where communication and coordination are critical, this could cause serious issues. So while lasers are an exciting and powerful defense tool, they still have a long way to go before becoming the perfect weapon. However, this doesn't make it less desirable. British Defense Secretary Grant Shapps has emphasized the need to speed up the development of these cutting-edge weapons. He believes that delays in bringing new military technology to the battlefield waste valuable defense funds. Typically, it takes about 10 years to develop and deploy a new weapon, but Shapps is determined to finish the Dragonfire sooner and get it installed on both ships and land-based defense systems. The Dragonfire's power comes from a unique set of 37 smaller lasers, each producing 1.5 kilowatts of energy. These beams are arranged in a hexagonal pattern and combined using mirrors to create a single, super powerful laser. The result? A 300 kilowatt laser, just as strong as the American system, but with a lower operating cost and a greater effective range of up to 6 miles. Another exciting feature of this weapon is its invisibility and silence. Unlike traditional guns or missile systems, Dragonfire operates using a light wavelength that's invisible to the human eye, making it almost impossible for enemies to detect. In recent tests, it destroyed drones and even detonated mortars in under 5 seconds. The laser heats metal to 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit, melting through aircraft fuselages and missiles with ease. While laser weapons aren't perfect yet, they're quickly improving. If current progress continues, these high-tech defenses could soon become the ultimate shield against enemy attacks, making missiles and drones much less effective in future wars. In early 2024, the Dragonfire was tested at the Hebrides range, where it proved just how precise it is. In one test, it struck a tiny coin from 0.6 miles away with pinpoint accuracy. Imagine what it could do against an incoming missile. With this kind of power, it's hard to believe that any enemy weapon could escape its deadly beam. So, will lasers become the ultimate defense against modern threats? Or will traditional air defense systems still have the upper hand? One thing is clear: Dragonfire is a glimpse into the future of warfare, and that future is already here. Moving on, recent news of the formidable Iron Dome has taken over the internet. Israel is preparing to launch its new Iron Beam laser defense system within a year, calling it a game-changer in modern warfare. As it battles drone and missile attacks from Iran and its allies, this advanced system is expected to strengthen Israel's air defenses. The country has invested over $500 million in contracts with Rafael Advanced Defense Systems, the company behind the Iron Dome, and Elbit Systems to increase production. Unlike traditional missile interceptors, Iron Beam uses high-powered lasers to destroy threats like rockets, drones, and mortars instantly. Eyal Zamir, the Director General of Israel's Defense Ministry, described the project as a major step forward. He announced that the system's first version will be ready for action within a year. The Iron Beam will operate alongside the Iron Dome, providing a more efficient and cost-effective way to stop incoming attacks. Israel's need for the Iron Beam comes at a critical time. The country is engaged in conflicts with Hamas in Gaza and Hezbollah in Lebanon, while also clashing directly with Iran. Since the October 7 attack, Iran and its allies have launched waves of rockets, drones, and missiles at Israel, attempting to overwhelm the Iron Dome. Experts say a laser-based defense could help Israel handle these mass attacks more effectively. Unlike missile interceptors, which are expensive and take time to reload, the Iron Beam fires a laser that destroys targets instantly. It is designed to work alongside existing defenses, offering a cheaper, unlimited, and fast way to stop incoming threats. Israel first revealed a prototype of the Iron Beam in 2021 and has been working to make it fully operational. If successful, it could revolutionize air defense. making missile attacks much less effective. However, experts warn that adverse weather and high-energy needs could limit its use. With increasing threats from Iran and its allies, Israel is pushing hard to deploy the Iron Beam as soon as possible. If it works as planned, it could mark a new era in warfare, changing the way battles are fought in the future. Israel is on the verge of revolutionizing modern warfare with its Iron Beam laser defense system, expected to be operational within the next year. Developed by Rafael Advanced Defense Systems, the company behind the successful Iron Dome, this cutting-edge technology will use high-powered lasers to burn through and destroy incoming missiles, drones, rockets, and mortars in midair. Unlike traditional missile defense systems that fire costly interceptor missiles, the Iron Beam will eliminate threats instantly with an almost zero cost per shot. Experts believe this could be a game-changer in military defense, especially given the rising number of aerial threats Israel faces. Israel has been under constant attack from Hezbollah, Hamas, and Iran-backed forces, with thousands of rockets and drones launched at its cities and military bases. These enemies are attempting to overwhelm Israel's defenses, forcing the military to fire interceptor missiles that cost about $5,000 each. Since Israel typically fires 2 missiles per interception, this has become an expensive and unsustainable strategy. The Iron Beam solves this problem by using focused laser energy to superheat enemy projectiles until they collapse, making it faster, cheaper, and far more efficient. Unlike the Iron Dome, which relies on radar to track incoming threats and launch interceptor missiles, the Iron Beam operates by firing a laser that can strike targets within seconds at a fraction of the cost. This makes it especially effective against drones, which are small, fast-moving, and difficult to detect. Israel's current defenses sometimes struggle to intercept them, but the Iron Beam's precision targeting will change that. The development of the Iron Beam comes at a critical time. Since Israel's war with Hamas began in October 2023, it has faced continuous attacks from Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen, and pro-Iranian militias in Syria and Iraq. In just one day, Hezbollah launched 50 projectiles toward Israel, with some getting past existing defenses. Even Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's home in Caesarea was damaged in a drone strike, a sign that the threat level is growing. Other countries, including the United States, the United Kingdom, China, and Russia, have been working on laser-based weapons for years. The U.S. Navy has tested high-energy laser systems capable of shooting down aircraft in flight, while the UK has developed a laser weapon called Dragonfire. Iran has also claimed to have laser technology, though its capabilities remain uncertain. Intelligence reports suggest Iran may possess the Chinese-made Silent Hunter laser weapon, but experts say it is not nearly as powerful as the Iron Beam. Despite its incredible potential, the Iron Beam is not without its limitations. Like all laser-based weapons, it works best in clear weather. Rain, heavy clouds, or dust storms could weaken its effectiveness. Additionally, it requires massive amounts of energy to maintain its high-powered laser beams. While it may not be as effective against long-range ballistic missiles, it will be a crucial layer of defense against drones, rockets, and short-range attacks. Experts believe that once fully operational, the Iron Beam could force Israel's enemies to rethink their attack strategies. Reports suggest that Hamas had been rushing to carry out its October 7th attack before Israel deployed the laser system, fearing that it would neutralize their rocket attacks. If successful, the Iron Beam could shift the balance of power in the region, making large-scale aerial attacks nearly useless. For now, the world is watching to see if Israel can deliver on its promise of laser warfare. If the Iron Beam performs as expected, it will mark the beginning of a new era in military defense, where lasers replace missiles and wars are fought with beams of light instead of explosions. Now, returning to the situation in Taiwan, the island is negotiating a multi-billion-dollar weapons deal with the United States, aiming to strengthen its defenses and secure greater support from the Trump administration as China intensifies military pressure. Sources familiar with the talks say the deal is intended to demonstrate Taiwan's commitment to its security. One source revealed that the package would include coastal defense cruise missiles and HIMARS rocket systems, with an estimated cost between $7 billion and $10 billion. The White House has not commented yet, But U.S. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz has expressed interest in speeding up weapons deliveries to Taiwan. Meanwhile, Taiwan's defense ministry did not confirm specific purchases, but stated that strengthening its military remains a top priority. China claims Taiwan as its own and has not ruled out using force to take control. Taiwan strongly rejects this claim, insisting that its future should be decided by its people. During his election campaign, Donald Trump criticized Taiwan's semiconductor industry, accusing it of taking jobs from the U.S. and recently threatened tariffs on chip imports. However, his administration has maintained diplomatic and military support for the island. On February 7, Trump and Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba issued a joint statement opposing any attempts to change the Taiwan Strait status by force or coercion. The U.S. State Department also removed language from its website that previously stated it does not support Taiwan's independence, a move praised by Taiwan but condemned by China. A third source revealed that Taiwan is preparing a special defense budget focused on precision ammunition, air defense upgrades, command systems, reserve force equipment, and anti-drone technology. Since Trump's first term, the U.S. has regularly sold weapons to Taiwan, including major deals for F-16 fighter jets. The Biden administration continued these sales, though often on a smaller scale. Despite Trump's tariff threats, Taiwanese officials remain hopeful about his administration's support for their security. In another sign of U.S. commitment, Raymond Green, the top U.S. diplomat in Taiwan, will remain in his position, even as other U.S. diplomatic roles undergo major reshuffles. The U.S. State Department confirmed that Green would continue leading the American Institute in Taiwan, the unofficial U.S. embassy in Taipei. Sweden is preparing for war. With tensions in Europe reaching a boiling point, Sweden has made a daring and impressive move, pouring a mind-blowing $3 billion into a next-generation fighter jet. This high-tech war machine, built for stealth, speed, and precision, is designed to go head-to-head with Russia's formidable air force. But is Sweden's new jet powerful enough to challenge Russian dominance in the skies? Could this massive investment finally put an end to the tension in this region? Join us as we explore the cutting-edge capabilities of the Swedish $3 billion fighter jet that was designed to defeat Russia. With rising tensions between Sweden and Russia, Sweden needed a powerful new fighter to defend its skies and stay ahead of potential threats. The country couldn't rely on its aging jets anymore, so it set out to build something faster, smarter, and deadlier. That's how the JAS-39 Gripen was born. Designed by Swedish aerospace company Saab, the Gripen is an advanced, single-engine fighter built for multiple roles. It can take down enemy aircraft, strike ground targets, and gather intelligence using advanced sensors. Fast, highly maneuverable, and armed with state-of-the-art weapons, it's built to handle modern warfare. One of the main goals in creating the Gripen was to ensure it could face both current and future threats while being safe, reliable, and cost-effective. Unlike many high-priced fighter jets, the Gripen is designed for top performance without breaking the bank. This jet isn't just protecting Sweden. Other countries trust it too. The Czech Republic and Hungary use the Gripen, while South Africa and Thailand have also ordered it. The UK's Empire Test Pilots School even trains pilots on it. Built for NATO compatibility and global operations, the Gripen has logged over 100,000 flight hours, proving its reliability. There's also a two-seat version for training and specialized missions, offering the same combat capabilities as the single-seater. The Gripen is built for one thing: dominating the skies in close combat. It's one of the most agile fighter jets in the world, designed to outmaneuver enemies in dogfights. This is thanks to its advanced design, which combines a sleek delta wing with forward canards. These features make the aircraft incredibly responsive, allowing it to turn sharply, dodge enemy fire, and strike with precision. Saab engineers made a bold choice with the Gripen's design. By using a relaxed stability setup, they gave the jet extreme maneuverability while also improving takeoff and landing performance. Unlike bulkier aircraft, the Gripen creates less air resistance, meaning it can fly faster, travel longer distances, and carry more weapons. But what makes this jet truly special is its intelligence. The Gripen is a programmable aircraft, meaning its missions can be updated just by changing the software. This adaptability allows it to stay ahead of evolving threats, making it one of the most versatile fighters in the world. It's also designed for quick and rough landings so that it can operate even on short or damaged runways. Inside, the Gripen is packed with cutting-edge technology. Its mission system operates through 5 digital data highways, connecting its sensors and weapons for seamless coordination. This sensor fusion gives pilots a complete battlefield picture, improving their ability to detect and attack targets with pinpoint accuracy. Stealth is another advantage. The Gripen is designed to be harder to spot, with a low radar and infrared signature that helps it evade enemy detection. Its PSO-5/A radar, developed by Ericsson and GEC-Marconi, is one of the best in its class. Inspired by the radar systems of the Sea Harrier and Eurofighter Typhoon, it can track multiple targets in any weather, on land, at sea, or in the air. This powerful radar can detect and identify threats up to 120 kilometers away, locking onto multiple enemies at once. It can even guide multiple missiles beyond visual range, striking opponents before they even know what hit them. The Gripen isn't just built for close combat, it's a versatile war machine. It can engage enemy aircraft in dogfights, strike ground targets with precision, and carry out reconnaissance missions. Its ability to integrate the latest weapons makes it a deadly opponent in modern warfare. It's fair to say that this aircraft is built for speed, power, and flexibility. It runs on the RM12 engine, which was developed by Volvo Aero from General Electric's F-404 engine. This powerful engine is controlled by a digital system that constantly monitors its performance, automatically activating backup systems when needed. A flight data system records crucial information during each mission to ensure peak efficiency. With a maximum speed of 2,470 kilometers per hour, the Gripen is among the fastest fighter jets in the world. It has a combat radius of 800 kilometers and a ferry range of 3,200 kilometers, allowing it to cover great distances when needed. It can also reach an altitude of 15,240 meters, giving it a high advantage in aerial engagements. Weighing around 5,700 kilograms when empty, it can carry a total maximum weight of 14,000 kilograms when fully loaded with weapons and fuel. Modern warfare demands flexibility, and the Gripen was designed to adapt to changing combat situations. In the past, military forces needed different aircraft for different roles, such as air superiority, ground attacks, and reconnaissance. However, today's conflicts require a single aircraft that can handle all these tasks without needing to return to base for reconfiguration. The Gripen is a true multi-role fighter, capable of switching between air-to-air combat, ground strikes, maritime attacks, and reconnaissance missions at the press of a button. This ability to change roles mid-flight gives pilots a major advantage, allowing them to respond instantly to threats. The Gripen's weapon system is designed to be as versatile as its missions. Unlike many other fighter jets, which are limited to weapons from a single country, the Gripen allows air forces to integrate weapons from various suppliers, including the United States, Europe, or even their domestic manufacturers. This flexibility means that different countries can customize the aircraft to fit their unique defense needs. For close-range dogfights, the Gripen is equipped with an internally mounted 27mm Mauser cannon. This high-energy gun can operate in automatic radar-guided aiming mode, making it highly effective against enemy aircraft. Additionally, the aircraft can carry standoff weapons such as the DWF-39 dispenser from EADS and the Bofors RX-70 rocket pod. The Gripen's 8 hardpoints, 3 on each wing and 2 beneath the fuselage, allow it to carry a wide variety of weapons. These include infrared-guided air-to-air missiles like the AIM-9 and IRIS-T, radar-guided missiles such as the AIM-120 and Mecha, as well as long-range air-to-air missiles like the Skyflash and Meteor. It can also be equipped with powerful anti-ship missile. For ground attacks, the Gripen can carry laser-guided GBU-12 Paveway 2 bombs, BK-90 cluster bombs, and standard Mark 82 bombs. The cockpit is also specially designed to provide pilots with maximum control and awareness. Featuring a fully digital layout with 3 large color displays, It presents crucial flight and targeting data in real time. The hands-on throttle and stick system allows pilots to operate key functions without removing their hands from the controls, ensuring quick reactions in high-pressure situations. Recently, Sweden's Air Force commander, Mats Helgesson, made a striking claim about the Saab Gripen E fighter jet, asserting that it was specifically designed to counter Russia's formidable Sukhoi jets. According to him, the Gripen E could successfully challenge these aircraft without relying on the expensive stealth technology that the United States heavily depends on. During a presentation in Finland, where Sweden was promoting the jet to potential buyers, Helgesson reportedly stated that the Gripen E was built to take down Sukhois, comparing its capability to having a black belt in combat. For years, Russia's Sukhoi fighters have been regarded as some of the most advanced in the world. Known for their agility, these jets have consistently outmaneuvered American fighter aircraft in dogfights and performed highly aggressive aerial maneuvers. Their ability to dominate in close-range combat has earned them a legendary reputation. However, Sweden's Gripen E, Helgesson implied, had been developed to counter this dominance effectively. Unlike other modern fighters, the Gripen E does not stand out for carrying the heaviest weapon load, having the longest range, or being the fastest. It also lacks the advanced stealth technology that many contemporary jets, particularly those from the United States, rely on to evade enemy detection. Additionally, it is not the cheapest option available in the market. Despite these factors, Helgesson suggested that what sets the Gripen apart is its unique design and combat philosophy. It was not built to be the most powerful aircraft in every category. Instead, its primary focus was to neutralize the very jets that had long posed a major challenge in aerial combat. The Gripen's effectiveness against Sukhoi jets, as described by Helgesson, lies in its adaptability, modern avionics, and ability to engage in highly dynamic dogfights. He seemed to imply that while Sukhoi fighters were built for raw power and extreme maneuverability, the Gripen's advanced systems and strategic design allowed it to exploit weaknesses in Russia's aerial fleet. The aircraft's avionics, electronic warfare capabilities, and superior situational awareness provided it with an edge, even against more powerful adversaries. During the presentation, Helgesson did not claim that the Gripen E was the absolute best in every category, but emphasized that it excelled in its specific role. Sweden had developed it as a cost-effective yet highly capable multi-role fighter with a clear mission: to challenge and defeat Russia's Sukhoi jets in battle. His statement, while bold, reflected Sweden's confidence in its homegrown fighter. It suggested that despite not being the largest or most expensive aircraft, the Gripen E was a serious contender in modern air combat, particularly against one of the most respected fighter jet families in the world. Modern fighter jets all have some level of electronic warfare abilities, but the Gripen E is in a league of its own, according to defense expert Justin Bronk. Gripen pilots don't like to reveal the full power of their jet's jamming system during training. However, on one rare occasion, when they did, it completely changed the outcome of a mock battle. Bronk recalled that years ago, German Typhoon pilots used to make fun of the Gripen. Eventually, the Swedish pilots decided to prove a point. They activated their electronic warfare systems as they would in real combat, and the results were shocking. During the exercise, one Gripen reportedly managed to get so close to a Typhoon that it appeared on its left wing without being detected. This was possible because of the aircraft's highly effective jamming technology, which is well respected in the military aviation world. Bronk noted that this demonstration wasn't even done with the newest Gripen E models, which have far more advanced electronic warfare systems. Instead, the aircraft used were the older CD variants, meaning the E-series Gripen is likely even more impressive in battle. From this, it's safe to say that the Gripen is one of the most capable electronic warfare fighters in the skies today. To counter Russia's powerful fighter jets and surface-to-air missiles, the U.S. has mostly relied on stealth aircraft. Stealth technology is extremely expensive and is built into the plane's design. However, if Russia ever figures out how to track stealth aircraft, the U.S.'s F-35, history's most costly weapon system, could be in serious trouble. Swedish aircraft maker Saab, however, took a different, more cost-effective approach. Instead of relying on stealth, they focused on electronic warfare, which offers a key advantage. It can be upgraded through software updates without needing to redesign the entire plane. According to defense expert Justin Bronk, this allows the Gripen E to adapt much faster to new threats. Saab plans to update the Gripen E's software every 2 years, ensuring it stays ahead of evolving challenges. Unlike stealth planes, which require major overhauls to improve, the Gripen can evolve through programming changes alone. If war ever broke out between Russia and the West, Russia would likely focus its efforts on countering U.S. electronic warfare rather than targeting Sweden's Gripen E fleet, which consists of only a few dozen jets. The Gripen E is designed to operate within Sweden's borders, using the country's natural landscape and defense systems to its advantage. According to military expert Justin Bronk, this fighter jet takes full advantage of Sweden's rough terrain and remains under the protective cover of surface-to-air missiles. Its advanced electronic warfare system provides an extra layer of defense, helping it avoid most Russian missiles and enemy aircraft. What makes the Gripen E stand out is its ability to carry a wide range of weapons. Unlike many other fighter jets that rely on a specific set of missiles, the Gripen E can fire almost any air-to-air missile made in the US or Europe. This flexibility allows it to adapt to different combat situations without being restricted to a single type of weapon. One of the most powerful weapons it can use is the Meteor missile, known for its long range and high accuracy. The Meteor is designed to maintain speed and energy even at long distances, giving it a greater chance of hitting its target. Additionally, it is resistant to enemy jamming, which is a major advantage against Russian electronic warfare tactics. Bronk emphasized that the combination of the Gripen E's high-performance radar, advanced EW capabilities, and the Meteor missile makes it a highly effective fighter. For Russian flanker pilots, encountering a Gripen E in battle would be a serious challenge due to its ability to detect, disrupt, and strike from a distance. By focusing on electronic warfare and adaptability, the Gripen E offers a unique approach to air combat. Its ability to blend into its surroundings, resist enemy attacks, and strike with precision makes it a formidable fighter in modern warfare. At first, Sweden was not willing to offer its fighter jets to Ukraine, but over time, it has become more open to the idea. In September, the Swedish Defense Ministry mentioned that it was securing spare parts for the Gripen, and by late November, reports suggested that some of these parts were being sent to Ukraine. However, it is still uncertain whether Ukraine will receive the actual jets or when that might happen. Sweden's defense minister, Paul Johnson, recently stated that his country had been advised to hold off until Ukraine had made more progress in setting up its new fleet of American-made 16s. There have been concerns about overwhelming Ukraine with too many different aircraft at once. Despite this, there remains a possibility that Ukraine could eventually receive the Gripen. NATO has shown interest in how the Gripen might perform against Russian forces, particularly because of its advanced electronic warfare systems. As the ongoing war has demonstrated, strong electronic warfare capabilities are crucial for countering Russia's military technology. Air battles are rare in Ukraine, but Sweden might still gain valuable insights from how the Gripen performs against Russian aircraft. George Barros, a military expert at the Institute for the Study of War, noted that studying its effectiveness in real combat could provide useful lessons, not just for Sweden, but for the entire NATO alliance. Sweden officially became a NATO member in March, a direct response to Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. NATO welcomed the move, seeing Sweden as a valuable ally due to its strategic location and military focus on countering Russian threats. For Saab, the company that makes the Gripen, there are also business advantages. Michael Bonert, a defense expert from the RAND Corporation, explained that Saab competes with other aircraft manufacturers globally. With many countries looking for fourth-generation fighters, Sweden and France, another country offering Ukraine its Mirage jets, both have strong reasons to prove their aircraft's capabilities in combat. Military aviation expert Tim Robinson pointed out that combat experience is a key selling point for any fighter jet. Although the Gripen was used in Libya in 2011, it was only for reconnaissance. The models Ukraine is most likely to receive are the older C&D versions, but if these perform well in battle, it could boost sales and enhance the reputation of the newer Gripen models. Retired U.S. Army Major General Gordon "Skip" Davis, who previously served as NATO's Deputy Assistant Secretary General for Defense Investment, also believes that success in Ukraine would be a major win for Saab and Sweden's defense industry. He emphasized that Sweden has spent years preparing for the possibility of a conflict with Russia, meaning the Gripen was built with this kind of challenge in mind. If the jet proves effective in Ukraine, it could be a strong endorsement for its future in the global market. The main goal of sending fighter jets to Ukraine would be to strengthen its air power. Military expert George Barros believes that increasing Ukraine's aircraft supply is a step in the right direction for its defense. Experts argue that, in the long run, the Gripen is the best jet for Ukraine. Michael Bonert previously explained that Gripens are a much better fit than F-16s because they were designed with Russia as a primary threat. Unlike the F-16, which was built for a different kind of warfare, the Gripen was specifically developed to counter Russian tactics. One of its biggest advantages is its ability to take off from regular roads instead of relying on air bases. This is critical for Ukraine, as Russian forces have targeted runways and military infrastructure throughout the war. Additionally, the Gripen requires less maintenance than an F-16, making it more practical for a country engaged in ongoing conflict. Aviation expert Tim Robinson described the Gripen as almost perfect for Ukraine's needs. However, he pointed out a drawback. There are far fewer Gripens in service compared to F-16s. This means that Ukraine's allies would have a harder time supplying spare parts and additional aircraft if needed.
The United States have been at the forefront of aviation for years and have not relented with the continued reinvestment in the country's aviation sector. Through the development of new generation jets, upgrade of old jets that have proven efficient, the U.S. has once again outdone itself and suppressed the world with the F-15. The F-15, a fighter jet that is renowned by many nations for its speed and agility, has been recognized as too weird by the Air Force. Which of its features has deemed it weird? What does the F-15 have to offer the world of aviation? Join us as we explore the reasons why the most modified F-15 fighter jet ever built was too weird for the Air Force. McDonnell Douglas's invention, the F-15 Eagle, is an American twin-engine fighter plane designed to dominate the skies in all kinds of weather conditions. In 1969, the United States Air Force chose McDonnell Douglas's design due to the need for a superior air fighter. The F-15 Eagle officially joined the United States Air Force fleet in 1976 after taking its first flight in July 1972. This fighter jet is one of the most impressive modern fighters and had over 100 victories in aerial combat without a single loss, predominantly attributed to the Israeli Air Force. Primarily serving as an air superiority fighter, the F-15 Eagle has become an important part of various air forces all over the world, including the United States, Japan, Saudi Arabia, and Israel. Despite its original focus on air superiority, the F-15's design includes a secondary ground attack capability, even though it was not extensively utilized. This adaptability led to the development of an enhanced all-weather strike version, known as the FF-15E Strike Eagle, which entered service in 1989, which also found its way into several nations worldwide. The development of the F-15 can be traced back to the early stages of the Vietnam War, a time marked by inter-service rivalry between the U.S. Air Force and U.S. Navy concerning the future of tactical aircraft. During this period, Defense Secretary Robert McNamara advocated for a shared aircraft approach, encouraging both services to utilize common aircraft designs, even if such a strategy necessitated performance compromises. This directive was evident in the joint USAF and Navy initiative known as the TFX program, which sought to develop a versatile aircraft capable of serving as a medium-range interdiction platform for the Air Force while concurrently functioning as a long-range interceptor for the Navy. The goal was to streamline the procurement and operational logistics by maximizing the commonality of aircraft across the two branches, despite the challenges associated with reconciling different requirements and priorities. In January 1965, McNamara asked the Air Force to think about creating a new, affordable tactical fighter that would be used for short-range missions and close air support, replacing older models like the F-100 Super Sabre and various light bombers. There were different opinions on which design to go for. The Navy liked the Douglas A-4, Skyhawk, and LTV A-7 Corsair II, which were mainly attack planes. On the other hand, the Air Force was more interested in the Northrop F-5 fighter. Even though it was not as good for attack missions, it could defend itself. If the Air Force went for a pure attack design, making sure it could control the air was crucial for a new aircraft. A month later, a report suggested that the Air Force should consider buying the F-5 or A-7 for their needs. However, it also proposed thinking about a new and more powerful aircraft to make sure it could maintain air superiority. This became even more important after losing 2 Republic F-105 Thunder Chief planes to older MiG-17s during an attack on the Thanh Hoa Bridge on April 4, 1965. The idea was to find the right balance between a plane that was good at attacking targets and one that could protect itself and control the air in combat situations. In April 1965, Harold Brown, who was in charge of defense research and engineering, suggested looking into the F-5 and starting studies on a new aircraft called FX. These early studies aimed for 800 to 1,000 planes and focused more on being agile than super fast. They also said the plane should be able to attack targets on the ground to some extent. General Gabriel de Sosway took control of Tactical Air Command on August 1 and continued to support the idea of the FX, but he wanted the plane to be a bit slower, going from Mach 3.0 to 2.5 to keep the costs down. By October 1965, there was an official plan for a fighter that would be great in air-to-air combat. This plan was sent to 13 companies on December 18, asking for their ideas. Around the same time, the Air Force picked the A-7 for support missions on November 5, 1965, which made the need for a specialized air-to-air design even more urgent, since the A-7 wasn't good at fighting other planes. 8 companies submitted ideas, and after narrowing down the options, 4 were chosen to develop their concepts further. In total, they worked on around 500 different designs. Most of these designs had wings that could change shape, variable sweep wings, weighed more than 60,000 pounds, could go as fast as Mach 2.7, and had a thrust-to-weight ratio of 0.75. By July 1966, when these proposals were examined, the planes were roughly the same size and weight as the TFX F-111. However, like the TFX F-111, these designs weren't suitable for being considered air superiority fighters. In simpler terms, they weren't the right kind of planes for controlling the air and winning in aerial combat. Around this period, the Navy determined that the F-111 wouldn't fulfill their needs. Consequently, they initiated the VFAX program to create a specialized fighter design. In May 1966, McNamara instructed both forces to examine the designs and assess whether the VFAX could align with the Air Force's FX requirements. These assessments went on for over 18 months and revealed significant inequalities in desired features. The Navy prioritized loiter time and mission flexibility, whereas the Air Force had shifted its focus primarily to maneuverability. This underscored a misalignment in priorities between the two branches, emphasizing their distinct needs and preferences for the ideal fighter aircraft. With air superiority in mind, the F-15 was eventually designed with an all-metal semi-monocoque fuselage and a shoulder-mounted wing with a modified cropped delta shape. The wing has a 45-degree leading-edge sweepback angle, and ailerons and a simple high-lift flap are positioned on the trailing edge. The absence of a leading-edge maneuvering flaps is compensated by low wing loading and a fixed leading-edge camber that changes span-wise along the wing. The tail is composed of metal and composite materials, including twin vertical stabilizers with a thin tailplane and rudders made of aluminum material honeycomb structure with boron composite skin. The F-15 has a spine-mounted air brake, retractable tricycle landing gear, and is powered by two Pratt & Whitney F-100 turbofan engines. Its cockpit is situated high in the forward fuselage and provides the pilot with increased visibility and a 360-degree field of view. The ability for the F-15's maneuverability is as a result of the combination of low wing loading and a high thrust-to-weight ratio, allowing tight turns without losing speed. It can rapidly climb to 30,000 feet in about 60 seconds and possesses the ability to accelerate vertically under certain conditions. The airframe incorporates advanced superplastically formed titanium components from the 1980s. The F-15 has a special radar that can see and shoot at things down below, even when there's a lot of ground stuff in the way. It uses advanced computers and easy-to-use displays to make things simpler for the pilot, and it only needs one pilot, which makes it lighter. Unlike some other planes like the F-14 or F-4, the F-15 has just one clear canopy frame, giving the pilot a good view in front. The U.S. Air Force brought in the F-15 as the first special fighter just for the Air Force since the old North American F-86 Sabre. The F-15A and B variants are designed with single seat for air superiority purposes, while the B and D models include a second seat for training. The E models use the second seat for a weapons systems officer. Unique among modern fighters, the F-15 lacks distinctive turkey feather aerodynamic exhaust pedals due to design issues during development, resulting in a 3% aerodynamic drag increase. An occurrence that proved the F-15 resilience was when an Israeli F-15D lost most of its starboard wing in a mid-air collision. The pilot managed controlled flight and a safe landing, leading to research on damage adaptive technology and the development of the Intelligent Flight Control System. In addition to its capabilities, the F-15 can carry different air-to-air weapons. Its automated system allows the pilot to release weapons safely, using the head-up display and controls on the engine throttles or control stick. When switching between weapon systems, visual guidance for the selected weapon automatically appears on the head-up display. The F-15 can be equipped with various combinations of 4 distinct air-to-air weapons, and they are the AIM-7FM Sparrow missiles, or AIM-120 AMRAAM Advanced Medium-Range Air-to-Air Missiles positioned on its lower fuselage corners, AIM-9 LM Sidewinder, or AIM-120 AMRAAM missiles on 2 pylons beneath the wings, and an internal 20mm M61 Vulcan Gatling gun integrated into the right wing root. Specially designed low-drag conformal fuel tanks of CFT were created for the F-15C and D models. These tanks can be attached beneath each wing, flanking the engine air intakes, adhering to the same load factors and airspeed limits as the basic aircraft. While they slightly reduce performance by increasing aerodynamic drag and can't be jettisoned mid-flight, they have lower drag than conventional external tanks. Each conformal tank has a capacity of 750 US gallons of fuel. Despite the minor performance impact, they enhance range, decrease reliance on in-flight refueling, and allow the use of all external munition stations. Additionally, Sparrow or AMRAAM missiles can be mounted on the corners of the CFTs. Initially utilized regularly by the USAF 57th Fighter Interceptor Squadron, based in NAS Keflavik, Iceland for extended operations over the North Atlantic, the F-15E variant is now the primary user of CFTs following the closure of the 57 FIS. Israel and Saudi Arabia have also acquired CFTs. The United States Air Force is the main user of the F-15. It received its first F-15B fighter jet on November 13, 1974. The initial aircraft, equipped with the Hughes Aircraft APG-63 radar, now Raytheon, was delivered to the Combat Squadron 555th Tactical Fighter Squadron in January 1976. The first F-15's attack occurred in 1979 when Israeli Air Force ace Moshe Melnik scored a victory. During IAF raids, F-15A reportedly took down 13 Syrian MiG-21s and 2 MiG-25s. In the 1982 Lebanon War, Israeli F-15s played a very important role, credited with destroying 41 Syrian aircraft. In Operation Mole Cricket 19, Israeli F-15s and F-16s jointly shot down 82 Syrian fighters without any losses. Israel stood out as the sole operator developing the air-to-ground capabilities of air superiority F-15 variants. This decision was influenced by the fighter's superior range compared to other Israeli combat aircraft in the 1980s. Notably, during Operation Wooden Leg in 1985, F-15s carried out a strike mission against PLO headquarters in Tunis, marking a rare use of air superiority F-15s in tactical strikes. Over time, Israeli air superiority F-15 variants have undergone extensive upgrades to carry a broader range of air-to-ground armaments, including JDAM GPS-guided bombs and Palpai missiles. On the 5th of June 1984, Royal Saudi Air Force F-15C pilots reportedly shot down 2 Iranian Air Force F-4E Phantom Dasenus. This skirmish highlighted the F-15's effectiveness in air combat. In 1990, the United States Air Force sent F-15C-D and E model planes to the Persian Gulf for Operations Desert Shield and Desert Storm. During the Gulf War, these F-15s were very successful, achieving 36 out of 39 air-to-air victories against Iraqi forces. The F-15C and D were used for air superiority, while the F-15E Strike Eagles were mainly for night air-to-ground attacks. The F-15s played a crucial role, with F-15Cs alone having 34 confirmed defeats of Iraqi aircraft during the 1991 Gulf War. They targeted various Iraqi planes, including MiG-29, MiG-25s, MiG-23s, and others. The F-15E also scored its first air-to-air kill by destroying an Iraqi Mi-24 helicopter. During the conflict, air superiority was quickly achieved, and many later victories were against Iraqi planes fleeing to Iran rather than engaging in direct combat. Some F-15Cs were lost to ground fire, and one was damaged by a Scud strike. In another incident, a Royal Saudi Air Force pilot was defeated with an F-15C during Operation Desert Shield, and Saudi F-15s later shot down 2 Iraqi Mirage F-1s. However, one Saudi F-15C was lost in a crash during the Persian Gulf War. The F-15s continued to be deployed in various operations, supporting missions in Iraq, Turkey, Bosnia, and other locations. In 1994, there was a tragic friendly fire incident in Iraq where USAF F-15Cs accidentally destroyed 2 U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopters. Later, during NATO's intervention in Kosovo in 1999, USAF F-15Cs shot down 4 Yugoslav MiG-29 using radar-guided missiles. In November 2007, the United States Air Force grounded all F-15s after a Missouri Air National Guard F-15 experienced a mid-air breakup and crashed. The investigation revealed a critical issue in the upper longerons of the F-15C, causing the front part of the aircraft, including the cockpit and radome, to separate from the rest of the plane. To address the problem, F-15A through D models were temporarily grounded for detailed inspections and necessary repairs. This grounding garnered attention as it strained the country's air defense capabilities. Some states had to depend on neighboring states' fighters for air defense, and Alaska relied on Canadian Forces' support. On January 8, 2008, the USAF Air Combat Command allowed a portion of its older F-15 fleet to resume flying, recommending a limited return to flight for affected models worldwide. The Accident Review Board report, released on January 10, 2008, found that the longeron in the F-15C did not meet specifications, leading to fatigue cracks and the eventual catastrophic failure of support structures, causing the aircraft to break up in flight. The report identified 9 other F-15s with similar longeron issues, raising concerns about the long-term viability of the F-15. By February 15, 2008, the Air Combat Command cleared all grounded F-15A/B/C/D fighters for flight pending inspections, engineering reviews, and necessary repairs. The ACC also recommended the release of other U.S. F-15A/B/C/Ds. This incident raised questions about the future of the F-15 and prompted extensive safety measures and evaluations to ensure the continued airworthiness of the fleet. Comparing the F-15 with the F-14 or Tomcat, it was noticed that they had similar design with its 2 engines, 2 seats, twin tails, and can fly at high speeds. The F-14 was created because an earlier project called the F-111D didn't work out. This fighter is big, well-equipped, and was the first among a series of American fighters designed based on lessons learned from air combat experiences against MiG fighters in the Vietnam War. The F-14 Tomcat was made to be good at both air-to-air combat and long-range interception for naval operations. It could work as an escort attack plane with Sparrow missiles or a defense interceptor with Phoenix missiles. The plane has a 2-seat cockpit with a clear bubble canopy for great visibility during air-to-air combat. It has wings that can change shape during flight, swept back for high-speed intercept and forward for slower speeds. The design aimed to be better than the F-4 Phantom in air combat performance. The F-14 structure allows it to climb faster than the F-4, and its twin-tail design improves stability. It has a built-in 20mm M61 Vulcan cannon and can carry various anti-aircraft missiles. The twin engines are in separate nacelles, and the space between them holds fuel, controls, and weapons. The fuselage on its own provides a significant part of the F-14's lift, which helped one F-14 land safely after losing more than half of its right wing in a mid-air collision in 1991. Despite its similarity to the famous F-15, there were limitations with the avionics system. On the other hand, the F-15 features a versatile avionics system designed for multiple missions. This system comprises a head-up display, advanced radar, AN/ASN 109 inertial guidance system, flight instruments, ultra-high frequency communications, tactical air navigation system, and instrument landing system receivers. Additionally, it incorporates an internally mounted tactical electronic warfare system, identification friend or foe system, electronic countermeasures suite, and a central digital computer. The heads-up display plays a crucial role by projecting essential flight information gathered from the integrated avionics system. This display remains visible in various light conditions and serves as a means for the pilot to access vital information without diverting attention to cockpit instruments. Essentially, it enables the pilot to track and engage enemy aircraft efficiently, contributing to the aircraft's overall mission capabilities. The F-15 boasts adaptable APG-63 and 70 pulse Doppler radar systems capable of tracking both high and low-flying targets with remarkable precision. These sophisticated radars are adept at discerning aircraft and swift, small targets across extensive distances, ranging from beyond visual reach to close proximity, even down to treetop elevations. With a primary range extending to 100 miles, the APG-63 contributes vital target data to the central computer, optimizing the accuracy of weapon deployment. In close-quarters aerial engagements, the radar seamlessly identifies adversary aircraft, projecting this critical information onto the pilot's head-up display. Complementing these radar capabilities, the F-15 integrates an electronic warfare system that furnishes comprehensive threat awareness through a radar warning receiver, while simultaneously executing automatic countermeasures against specific threats. The synergy of these advanced radar and electronic warfare systems underscores the F-15's prowess in surveillance, target acquisition, and responsiveness in dynamic combat scenarios. These unbeatable capabilities of the F-15 series and its advanced designs have made it stand out in the world of aviation.
The evolution of weaponry has led to the emergence of the most destructive hypersonic missile with capacity that the world cannot explain, and the United States have made it a mission to be at the front line of creating these out-of-the-world missiles. With its newly developed hypersonic missile, the Dark Star, the U.S. has taken the missile game to a whole new level with its terrific capabilities exceeding that of Iran's formidable missile, the Fatah-1. What makes the Dark Star different? Can hypersonic missiles be detected and targeted by any defense system? Join us as we delve into the features of the U.S. new Dark Star that no hypersonic missiles can beat. Hypersonic weapons are a testament to the groundbreaking advancement that military technology has undergone during the past few decades. This weapon, as the name implies, is capable of traveling at a speed of over Mach 5. Which is said to be 25 times the speed of sound. This speed range, equivalent to 1 to 5 miles per second, sets hypersonic weapons apart from subsonic and supersonic counterparts. The first attempt to create a hypersonic weapon was by the Russians. They initiated hypersonic weapon technology research in the 1980s, and recently some tests were conducted in the country in respect to a report that was published by VOA News on the 22nd of March, 2022. Russia became recognized as the first nation to deploy hypersonic weapons during combat, reportedly directing at least one missile towards a target in Ukraine in March 2019. The missile, which was deployed against Ukraine, is identified as a Kinzhal missile, and it was launched from a military aircraft. Also, Russia claimed possession of the Avangard hypersonic glide vehicle and information regarding the development of a ship-launched cruise missile that is referred to as the Tsirkon. It is safe to say that Russia truly started the development of these lethal weapons. Let us check out some of the features of the very first missile created. The F-47 M2 Kinzhal, also known as Dagger, is a hypersonic ballistic missile that was developed by Russia, as mentioned earlier. This weapon has an estimated range of 60 to 80 kilometers and a mind-blowing speed of Mach 10. This missile is capable of carrying either conventional or nuclear warheads and can be launched from bombers like the Tu-22 M3 bombers or the MiG-31K interceptors. Also, the modified and upgraded version of the Su-34 aircraft have been used to launch the Kinzhal after the conflict in Ukraine. This is the first time a hypersonic missile would be used or developed. The Kinzhal shares its design with the older ground-launched Iskander missile, but a unique difference that they share is that the Kinzhal is designed to be launched in the air. IG has the capability to target both stationary and moving objects, which includes aircraft carriers. Due to its super cruise capabilities, it can penetrate targets more effectively than lighter and slower cruise missile. Despite the Russians laying emphasis on the hypersonic feature of the Kinzhal and portraying it as a new and advanced design, it relies on the standard ballistic missile technology at higher speed, and the hypersonic aspect of the missile is not a unique breakthrough because other older missiles have similar features. The U.S. defense officials believe that the current radar system are not good and advanced enough to detect and track these hypersonic missiles, and even the president mentioned that the Russians' missiles are very hard to detect and stop. Eventually, the development of hypersonic missiles went beyond Russia and continued in Iran. On the 6th of June, 2023, Iran unveiled its very first hypersonic missile called the Fatah, and the president was present in the unveiling ceremony. This development would help to enhance Iran's security and is also a proof of the country's military strength to rival nations. The hypersonic missile has a remarkable speed of Mach 15 that surpasses that of the Kinzhal and every other missile that has been developed. The Fatah was able to achieve this maximum speed thanks to air-breathing scramjet engines, an upgrade from the regular engines. The scramjet engine burns fuel in a supersonic airstream without any moving parts. What makes the hypersonic missiles different from intercontinental ballistic missiles is that even though they can both travel at hypersonic speeds, the ICBM travels in a predictable pattern that the interceptor can easily predict. For several years now, the only countries that have invested in building a weapon that is this accurate, effective, and legal is China, Russia, and the United States. But now Iran has joined them with its Mach 15 missile, and it came at a very disturbing time. There have been heightened tensions between Iran and Israel as Israel expresses growing concern about Iran's intentions to reboot its nuclear weapon plans. Israel, a very likely target for Iran's nuclear weapon should it exist, has made it very clear that they would never allow Iran to have such weapons. The economic minister of Israel has announced and advised Iranians to be deeply concerned and alert. According to the minister, if Iran reaches the threshold of almost wielding nuclear weapons, escalation is certain. Still, Iran appears to be reaching that threshold as traces of weapons-grade uranium have been spotted in the country. Nevertheless, Iran, through its state telecommunications, stated that Fatah, with its thrust-vectoring rear, can surpass the most advanced anti-ballistic missile systems of the United States and Israel, including Israel's world-renowned Iron Dome. Iran had also claimed the missile would be able to strike Israel in less than 7 minutes. With these references to Israel's defenses, Iran's intent for developing with Fatah is very straightforward. If it is not related to a war based on nuclear weapons, it could be the current conflict between Israel and Hamas of Palestine that compels Iran to launch the F at Israel. But in response to Iran's threat, the United States has responded with its very own unstoppable hypersonic missile, Dark Star. The U.S. RQ-3 Dark Star has stirred a wave in the world of weaponry. This missile, also called the Tier 3-, is a type of unmanned flying machine. It has its first flight in March 29, 1996. However, the Department of Defense decided to put an end to the project in 1999 because they discovered that the UAV didn't fly well and wasn't performing up to expectations in terms of costs and performance. It was developed to be a high-altitude endurance UAV, and it included technology from stealth aircraft to make it very hard to detect. This feature allows it to be operated in heavily defended aircraft, unlike the RQ-4, which could only operate when air supremacy was assured. The Dark Star is designed to be completely autonomous, which means that it can perform its activities without human intervention. However, despite its autonomous features, human operators could adjust the UAV's flight plan and sensor direction by using radio or satellite relay. The UAV is equipped with either an optical sensor and can transmit digital information to a satellite while airborne. It is powered by a single air rebreathing jet engine. Some unconfirmed sources claim that it makes use of a Williams Rolls-Royce F-47 turbofan engine. The R stands for reconnaissance in the Department of Defense, and Q means unmanned aircraft system. The 3 indicates that it's the third in a series of purpose-built unmanned reconnaissance aircraft systems. Even though the RQ-3 program ended on January 28, 1993, a report in Aviation Week and Space Technology in July 2003 mentioned that a version of the UAV was used in the 2003 invasion of Iraq. However, this has not been confirmed. Another hypersonic unmanned aircraft by the United States is the Blackbird, also known as the SR-72. As the military might of adversaries grows, the U.S. once again finds itself in need of an aircraft as invincible as the SR-71 Blackbird of the 1960s. This is where the SR-72, son of Blackbird, comes into play. It was proposed privately by Lockheed Martin in 2013 as an SR-71 successor. The SR-72 pretty much has its work cut out for it to be the new, most indomitable American aircraft in history. With the introduction of hypersonic missiles and directed energy weapons, the SR-72, unlike the SR-71, would protect itself with weapons like guns, bombs, supersonic and hypersonic missiles, laser-directed energy weapons, and loyal wingmen drones capable of reconnaissance and surveillance. Aircraft like its predecessor, this fighter, would also feature the most intelligent sensors and the highest quality cameras to take photos that cover 100 miles in each shot. Stealth is an advancement that has only been here one generation of fighters ago, but it's one that's here to stay. According to the Air Force's Biennial Acquisition Report covering the fiscal years 2019 and 2020, the NAD fighter would maximize its stealth features by taking an overall triangular shape, internally holding its payload, and having no distinct tail section, also known as vertical stabilizers. It is the first fighter in history to be unveiled with such a revolutionary design. Vertical stabilizers had always been required to keep an aircraft airborne until the concept of active flow control came into life in the B-2 Spirit. Active flow control uses computer brains on board to constantly adjust the flow around the aircraft to keep it airborne, similarly to how birds fly. The result of this on an aircraft is top-level stealth and, well, a not-so-wallet-friendly cost. This, to an extent, justifies why the B-2 cost $2 billion, why NASA invested a heavy $1 billion in the development of the SR-72, and why Congress has budgeted over $1 billion for the Air Force's NAD program in less than a decade. The immediate surroundings of the hypersonic UAV, as the NAD fighter, will be miles wide, as it would be capable of spotting targets, friendlies, and points of interest from tens of miles away. The sensors that make this possible come with maximum connectivity and thus the ability to share its data with every member of the fleet, whether sixth generation or not, updating every member of the U.S. with relevant information in real time. The U.S. would do away with radars mounted on aircraft to electronically configured smart skins integrated into the aircraft's fuselage. This results in increased sensor sensitivity as well as network adaptability. It also aids with communication across the fleet and ultimately improves remote control. Open architecture laser weapons that can take out targets with precision, a mixture of high-performance guns, missiles, AETP engines capable of subsonic, transonic, and supersonic flight that costs over $6 billion to develop. Loyal wingmen, top-of-the-line electronic warfare countermeasures, avionics, and communications are only some of what to expect on the fighter. But despite these advancements, decades of history have taught the U.S. that an aircraft will always have room to be better, no matter how advanced it already is. Especially with near-peer adversaries getting more and more near-peer. As a result, the fighter will come with an open architecture that enables it to take on new upgrades easily and quickly. All of these would be combined to create an aircraft with an estimated unit cost of $1 billion and a top speed of Mach 6. The hypersonic aircraft of the 21st century, the fastest operational aircraft in history, and possibly Iran's greatest threat in the sky. As unstoppable as these hypersonic missiles might sound, a technology has been created to stop them before they inflict destruction on their targets. The MIM-104 Patriot is a surface-to-air missile system mainly used by the U.S. Army and its allies. Produced by Raytheon, it gets its name from the radar component called AN-MPQ-53, known as Phased Array Tracking Radar to intercept on target or Patriot. Starting in 1984, the Patriot system replaced the Nike Hercules and MIM-23 Hawk systems for the U.S. Army's air defense. Besides these roles, Patriot also plays a part in the U.S. Army's anti-ballistic missile system and is expected to remain in service until at least 2040. It uses an advanced interceptor missile and high-performance radar systems. It was developed at Redstone Arsenal in Huntsville, Alabama, known for the Safeguard ABM system. Patriot, symbolized by a Minuteman drawing, has been widely exported. It was among the first U.S. Department of Defense systems to employ lethal autonomy. It was successfully used in the 2003 Iraq War. It also defended against Houthi missile attacks in the Yemen conflict and achieved its first shoot-downs of enemy aircraft in service with the Israeli Air Defense Command, including UAVs and a Syrian Air Force Sukhoi Su-24 in 2014. Before the Patriot, Raytheon worked on various surface-to-air missile programs like FABMDS, AADS-70, and SAM-D. In 1975, the SAM-D missile, later named the Patriot Air Defense Missile System, successfully engaged a drone, the MIM-104. Patriot integrated new technologies, including the MPQ-53 radar and track-via missile guidance. They started developing the Patriot system in 1976, and it became operational in 1984. Initially, it was used for anti-aircraft purposes. In 1988, it got an upgrade, PAC-1, which added some capability against tactical ballistic missiles. The latest upgrade, PAC-3, is a comprehensive redesign to specifically engage and destroy tactical ballistic missiles. To reload missiles, they make use of a special truck called the Guided Missile Transporter, which has a bigger crane than when compared to the regular trucks. The crane, which is also nicknamed the Scorpion Tall, because it is twice the weight of the truck, helps to remove used missile canisters from the launchers and put in new ones. The regular trucks with a standard-sized crane are referred to as the Large Repair Parts Transporter. The Patriot's radar has over 5,000 elements in its antenna array that allows for rapid beam adjustments. It included an IFF interrogator, TVM array, and a sideline canceller to reduce interference. Patriot's radar is unique because it handles detection, identification, tracking, and engagement all in one unit, unlike others that use multiple radars for these tasks. Its range has a focused and flexible beam which makes it adept at detecting small and fast targets like the ballistic missile or a stealthy aircraft. Its power and agility makes it resilient against countermeasures. Also, the Patriot can swiftly change frequencies to counter jamming attempts. There are plans to upgrade the Patriot system's radar and to introduce a new digital processor and a more advanced AN-MPQ-65A active electronically scanned array radar. This radar is designed based on gallium nitride technology and is larger and possesses an improved range. Maintenance of this weapon is at a reduced cost and includes a smaller rear panel array for extended coverage. The GAN-ASA radar makes use of multiple smaller transmitters, providing enhanced flexibility and operational resilience. In October 2017, the Army chose Raytheon's lower-tier air and missile defense system radar as the new Patriot Systems radar. Unlike the old radar that could monitor only one part of the sky, mainly for ballistic missiles, LTAMDS provides 360-degree coverage to spot low-flying drones and maneuvering cruise missiles. This design includes a large central array that focuses on threats from a higher altitude and two smaller side arrays which increase powers that can detect slower threats storm miles away. Raytheon received a $383 million contract to develop the first 6 radar, which were expected to be operational in 2022. Moving on to the importance of the parts that can be found on the Patriot, the weapons control computer in the defense system serves as a primary computer in the Patriot system. It is in control and manages the operator interface, computes missile intercept algorithms, and also offers diagnostics for basic faults. It operates in a multi-processor configuration with a maximum clock rate of 6 MHz. Even though it has a relatively limited processing power compared to modern personal computers, the weapon control computer has undergone multiple upgrades throughout the Patriot's service life, with the latest version deployed in 2013. The latest version features significantly improved performance. The system consists of a modular mid-course package and a terminal guidance section that houses the TVM seeker, which includes an antenna, inertial platform, antenna control electronics, a receiver, and a transmitter. The modular mid-course package can be found in the forward parts of the warhead section and is said to contain navigational electronics and a missile-borne computer. Positioned just after the guidance section is the warhead section. It houses critical components like the proximity fuse warhead, safety and arming device, fusing circuits and antennas, link antenna, switching circuits, auxiliary electronics, inertial sensor assembly, and signal data converter. The propulsion section is that part that comprises the rocket motor, the external heat shield, and 2 external conduits. The rocket motor includes the case, nozzle assembly, propellant, liner and insulation, pyrogen igniter, and a propulsion arming and firing unit. The casing of the motor is an important structural element in the missile airframe, and it contains a case-bonded solid rocket propellant. The final part is the control actuator section that is located at the aft end of the missile. This section receives commands from the missile autopilot. It is also responsible for positioning the fins that help to steer and stabilize the missile during flight activities. The fin servo system, which is a part of the control actuator system, includes the hydraulic actuator, valves, and an electro-hydraulic power supply, which includes a battery, motor pump, oil reservoir, gas pressure bottle, and an accumulator. These components and standardized design helps to ensure the missile's effective functionality and adaptability in several scenarios. What is your take on the capabilities of Iran and U.S. hypersonic missiles? Is the Dark Star truly unbeatable?
Since time immemorial, China has been a major player and front-runner in developing cutting-edge technologies and reshaping warfare. Fast forward to the 21st century, and they just might have done it again. The creation of the J-35 stealth fighter, backed by an eye-watering investment of $225 million, has triggered alarm bells, ringing wildly from Beijing to the United States, sending shockwaves through Washington. How does this new technology change the trajectory of aerial combat? Does America have a solid counter prepared? Join us as we discuss the United States' shock at this cutting-edge Chinese military marvel. While intelligence gathering, stealth, and force are an important part of all types of warfare, everything pales in comparison to the necessity for air control. The world's superpowers have engaged in wars to seize control over the skies from time immemorial, leading to the innovative inventions of some land and naval weapons of mass destruction. However, aerial dominance remains elusive. Although some inventions were developed over a short period of time, the dominance of the air just never really fell to anyone permanently, as the powers continue to shift according to an improvement in technology and, in some cases, economics. Although an argument could be made for countries like Russia and the United States dominating the air with their cutting-edge unmanned combat aerial vehicles, which have explicitly been regarded as aerial dominators useful for stealth, reconnaissance, hunter-killer missions, and an immense ability to carry an unprecedented amount of ordnance and payload, China have come out of the shadows, seeking a word with everyone else who thought that they had the perfect air monster with the creation of the J-35 stealth fighter, sending every other nation's analyst reeling. At first glance, the Chinese J-35 stealth fighter bears a serious resemblance to the American F-35. However, this time, we are discussing a greater mechanical monster of the air. Could China be working their way to be the lord of the sky, forcefully dominating a whole new era of aerial combat? While some claim that they have simply created this beast to attack their enemies while protecting the People's Republic, others have seen it as a deliberate affront and challenge to the United States' air power. Talk about a statement innovation Could we really be seeing the days of the United States' nearly uncontested dominance of the skies coming to an end? While military defense jets are nothing new in today's world, the Chinese J-35 stealth fighter is a completely different bird. The Shenyang J-35 is a single-seater, twin-engine, all-weather, any-weather type of jet. While the United States has its military weapons, contractors like Lockheed Martin, the People's Republic of China has Shenyang to thank for this astonishing delivery. The Shenyang Aircraft Company designed the device for air superiority and surface strike missions. This time, it would seem that the People's Republic of China has really outdone itself. Not only did they create a land-based aircraft where they could mobilize the stealth jet from an airbase, they also created carrier-based models, giving options to their military and their navy. The J-35 stealth jet was basically designed to dominate the skies. Although it isn't China's first ever combat aerial vehicle, it remains sui generis, one of one. While the jet now turns all the military heads around the world, the idea for it did not come out of a vacuum. It all started in the 2010s when the People's Liberation Army Air Force, popularly called the PLAAF, endorsed a proposal for a Chengdu J-20 stealth fighter after Chengdu Aerospace Corporation won the proposal to develop next-generation fighter jets for the Chinese military. Although Chengdu had won the proposal, competition between technological companies goes well beyond winning a government contract. While the wheels of capitalism mostly go into overdrive for profit, pride in having the most reliable cutting-edge invention sometimes leapfrogs it. Hence, Shenyang Aircraft Corporation's presentation of the scale model of the FC-31 jet in Beijing was not unprecedented. Chengdu may have won the battle, but Shenyang was preparing for war. Their release of the FC-31, mostly called the F-60, tilted the scale further to their side, and the Chinese government took some serious interest in their innovations. By June 2012, they rolled it out in action as part of a police-escorted transit through a national highway. Military observers who saw it in action couldn't take their eyes off it. And just like that, the Shenyang Aircraft Corporation leapfrogged Chengdu at the center stage of the Chinese next-generation fighter jet inventors. The observers gave it different names, such as J-21, J-31, and sometimes F-60s. Not only was its lightning speed attractive, but it had other telling features, such as the airframe design with the more conventional trapezoidal wings, which is the polar opposite of Chengdu's canard delta configuration. In November 2012, Shenyang officially revealed the FC-31 as a complete project at the Zhuhai Air Show, a biennial international aerospace trade expo held in Zhuhai, Guangdong, since 1996. However, to meet military standards, they understood that they needed to make some improvements, including the addition of stealth capabilities, a bigger payload, and operational range. The Chinese military saw it as a proper competitor for the United States F-35. Hence, if it was going to be used by the Chinese military, it needed to be either just as good as Lockheed Martin's F-35 or even better. Shenyang Aircraft Corporation got the memo, so they shot for gold. Why try to catch up when you can overtake? In a bid to challenge the United States' uncontested dominance, the research wing of the Aviation Industry Corporation of China, otherwise called AVIC, developed a somewhat navalized version of the F-31, meaning that it could be carrier-based. A carrier-based fighter jet is seen as nearly the peak of stealth jets. If a stealth jet is referred to as carrier-based, it means that it could be ferried across the ocean from an aircraft carrier, something very similar to Marvel's helicarrier in their franchise movies like The Avengers, 2012, and The Winter Soldier. Only that it could fly even as much as it could float on water. However, with aircraft carriers, the jets could be deployed right in the middle of the ocean with little access to a runway and stab right into the heart of enemy lines. This alleged addition to the capabilities of the FC-31 earned it the tag of the Shenyang J-35, a tag that the United States has come to fear. Not only was it made to be stronger and more reliable than the American F-35, but they also found their capitalist initiative. They had the intention to enter the export market just like the United States while selling cutting-edge technology on the arms market for a cheaper rate than the United States. While a show of force could be understood and maybe even forcefully cut off in a war, there was no way to handle an economic tiff where the direct competitor sells the exact same quality, or maybe even better, for cheaper rates. But what makes the Shenyang J-35 special enough to rattle the cage of other superpowers, especially the United States? While the J-35 stealth jet carries an immense capability for stealth, reconnaissance, and intelligence gathering, one of its most popular features is in its optics. Although constant revisions were made between the prototypes and the models that followed, the export-oriented mentality improved their designs as clients asked for different modifications. This divergence created the initiative to run the navalized, carrier-based J-35 program and the land-based J-35A. While they were developed in parallel to each other, they were developed to suit different environmental conditions. Furthermore, the export-infused divergence has led to the development of different models, including the first flying prototype, FC-31V1, the second flying prototype, FC-31V2, and the two variants of the land and carrier-based J-35 fighters. While the Chengdu J-20 remains a part of the Chinese Air Force's fleet, the J-35's smaller build, with its chiseled nose section, gives it preference over the Chengdu J-20 for stealth missions. Its designs are pretty basic and rather simple, as it carries a forward-swept intake ramp, diverterless supersonic inlet, or D-side bumps, trapezoidal wings with leading and trailing edge flaps, all moving tailplanes, and two canted, swept-back vertical stabilizers with truncated rudders but a full-length rudder on the navalized version. Owing to its diversity as a land and carrier-based aircraft, certain parts of the designs have been tweaked to fit either environmental operations. For example, the carrier-based version of the FC-31, otherwise called a J-35, has a twin-wheel nose landing gear, giving provision for the fighter's landing on an aircraft carrier. However, the landscape of warfare has shifted from opponents going blow for blow, with only menace on their minds. The unprecedented fall in the human population, and by extension, military manpower, seems to have ushered in a new age of aerial warfare, leading to the development of cutting-edge unmanned combat aerial vehicles. If you have ever wondered why Lockheed Martin's F-35 seems to be at the forefront of fighter jets, it is based on its ability to act as a command and control hub for unmanned drones, which creates a clear separation and distinction from the Chinese's J-35. Unmanned drones like the MQ-9 Reaper stand tall as the future of aerial combat. However, while they are radio-controlled from a military base or even at the war theater, they have a new problem that makes it all too difficult to control: the recent release of the palletized high-energy laser, or as popularly called, the PHEL. They are countermeasures taken against drones, and their effectiveness has recently been published. Hence, it seems to make more sense to have well-trained pilots handle fighter jets to maneuver countermeasures while they have an unmanned aerial drone flying close enough to find them information on the ground. That's where the Lockheed Martin F-35s come in. The F-35's mission is a single-engine supersonic speed monster with a wingtail configuration of two vertical stabilizers utilized for stealth purposes. Since the introduction of lasers to destroy drones, the manned F-35 craft is preferred as a resolution to the common problem, a trace back of technological steps to the good old days where men were priorities in the Air Force. A far cry from the woke unmanned craft. The F-35 has been designed to weigh so much more than its predecessor, the F-22 fighter jet, as it possesses a stronger airframe weight, which is nearly 35% more than the F-22. It has larger wings and is more fuel efficient than its predecessor because of its larger fuel tank. While lighter jets have been described as the ever-changing future of warfare, one thing remains constant. Everyone wants to be on the winning side, and if winning means heavier jets, then heavier jets it is. Although speed stealth remains a huge part of the F-35's makeup, its recent use in combat has confirmed that it is not a supercruising aircraft, meaning that it cannot operate at the supersonic speed of Mach 1, the speed of sound, unless it turns on its afterburners. While its lack of supersonic speed before afterburners seems to threaten its reputation as a fifth-generation jet, it makes up for it by eliminating a famous problem associated with almost any other jet: drag. That little bit of slowness and uneasiness in aircraft, mostly caused by the carrying of external weapons and ordnances, like the AGM-1414 Hellfire missiles Fuel tanks and some really serious explosives under their wings or fuselages have been dealt with by developing an internal weapons bay and keeping the missiles and explosives inside the fuselage other than mounting it right on top of it. The elimination of drag creates all types of advantages, including improved stealth, since the outside creates radar reflection, inadvertently giving up their location and arousing suspicion and countermeasures from the opposition. Also, its improved drag can only mean one thing: more speed. Although that reduced the risk of detection, it also reduced the amount of time needed to be taken on a flight. By extension, they burn less fuel, saving money. Although it costs taxpayers money, if there is a way to reduce the cost of already expensive concepts like war and defense technology, of course, the nation takes it. The United States shared the F-35 throughout its military arms, including the Armed Forces, the Navy, and the Marine Corps. On November 16, 2012, the United States Marine Corps received its first F-35B at the Marine Corps Air Station in Yuma, Arizona, preparing for operations in coming wars. First, they declared Initial Operational Capability, or IOC, meaning that they checked at what point the team would be capable of running operations using their newly acquired technology on July 31, 2015. Although they experienced some limitations in night operations, mission systems, and weapons carriage, they didn't ditch the idea of having a gift-generation fighter jet within their ranks. They expressed their desires for tweaks to be made on the jet to hit warfare standards. Fast forward to 2016, and United States Marines participated in their first Red Flag exercise using the F-35. The Red Flag exercise is a type of training for the Marines where they simulate war conditions to see how their latest equipment would fare in actual combat. They were pleased with the test. Hence, they carried on with its usage and waited until 27 to unleash this air beast at the Marine Corps Air Station at Iwakuni, Japan. In the next year, the jet was tested under real combat conditions against the Taliban. Surely it doesn't get any more real than that. The Marines deployed the jet on the USS Essex, an aircraft carrier, launching it directly into the thick of the battle in the middle of the Taliban war in Afghanistan. It had unprecedented success and became a major part of the Marine Corps' fleet. Its success in Afghanistan spread a bit of panic around the world, with the United States' friends and foes quaking in their boots and marveling at the sight of this cutting-edge technology. While the Marines' success brought a bit of envy with it, they prepared ways to deploy the jet to avoid enemy surveillance while ensuring the survivability of the aircraft. First, they banked on the aircraft's short takeoff and vertical landing capabilities as an asset, which can aid the deployment of the aircraft from smaller amphibious ships, making them even less obvious to the enemy. Essentially, since the F-35 didn't need some massive runway to pick up steam and get in the air, they figured that they could convert their amphibious assault ships into some mini aircraft carrier and no one would see it coming, taking its stealth capabilities to a whole new level. Owing to the F-35's sudden popularity and influence in wars, they decided to avoid the use of austere bases, where the opposition could easily find their aircraft. Hence, to shield the vulnerability and avoid the possible destruction of their air stations, the United States Marine Corps stationed their F-35s at remote or temporary locations, using available shelters and other temporary bases in Allied territories like a forest or other types of natural camouflages. While this ensures that their operational bases are unknown, it also makes it possible to have their aircraft parked right behind enemy lines and deployed at will. While the United States might have built the F-35s, diplomacy and capitalism seem to have seeped into the plot. While the United States retains its plot armor as the hero and pioneer of this invention, other countries, including superpowers, have come into the foray, diplomatically looking for a way into the F-35 market. However, this begs the question, why aren't they trying to build theirs yet intend to invest in an asset where the United States are the sole Tier 1 partner, regardless of the funding that they would be carrying? Perhaps it is a skill issue, or the Lockheed Martin F-35 is just that good. Recent reports suggest that the United Kingdom, Italy, the Netherlands, Turkey, Australia, Norway, Denmark, and Canada have agreed to contribute a whopping $4.375 billion towards development costs, with the United Kingdom contributing about 10% of the planned costs. First, they made a simple plan where the United States and 8 major partners would acquire well over 3,000 F-35s until 2035. However, other nations have decided to join the plot, including Israel and Singapore, who have joined the team as Security Cooperative Participants, or SCPs. To make sense of the delineation, the top partnering countries only get sales from the Pentagon's Foreign Military Sales Program. Although Turkey seemed a part of the program at a point, their sudden purchase of the Russians' S-400 surface-to-air missiles proved to the partners of the F-35 committee that they couldn't be trusted, hence their removal from the program. Since the F-35 already has the world in its pockets, seduced by its capabilities in real-time combat, why is the United States afraid of an overtaking from the Chinese defense's Shenyang J-35? The exportation of the F-35 is rumored to cost a whopping $82 million. However, with inflation setting in, there might be a chance for an even bigger hike in price. According to Audrey Decker, staff writer at Defense One, the jet's increasing capability and complexity seem to be pushing the buttons of the higher-ups at Pentagon, who have proposed to cut into the budget already planned for the F-35. Although it is being heavily considered by Congress, an agreement to do so will lead to a huge hike in the price of the aircraft. While the United States languishes in the pains of production costs, hiked to the high heavens as a result of inflation, China, being the ever-shrewd economic beast, aims to sell an exact replica that could do just what the F-35 does, and also share the same optics at a cut price of $70 million. Turkey already defected to Russia when things got a little tough. Hence, whether the United States is able to keep its allies in place without worrying about China closing in from the rearview mirror remains to be seen. Thanks for watching. While you are still here, click on the link on your screen to check out another of our videos. See you there.